From the Bowling with Browns Legends live event here at Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio, presented by the Tuscarawas County Browns backers. Me, Josh All, he's Justin Charles, and there's no Blake Renneker here today, although if you come down here, you're going to see his face on all the tables.
It's everywhere.
He was good enough to drop off a couple business cards, for his real estate and all that kind of stuff, but had some plans today, could not get with us for the show. So Justin and me holding it down today. It's starting to fill up here. We've got a lot of former Browns players, alumni that are going to be here today. We're going to have some guys sit down with us, talk about, whatever we get into. The current Browns team, their perspective, their takes on some things we'll talk about. Their playing days, probably get some good stories. It's just going to be a good time. There's going to be obviously a lot of bowling taking place behind us. It doesn't really kick off until noon, so I don't really know when people are going to start throwing balls down the lanes, but it could get a little loud in here. So hopefully you guys can hear us okay. I'll have to pull up the live chat on my phone here in a second, make sure you guys aren't telling us we're silent or anything like that. So just kind of go through here today. Who's going to be here? We got Mike Pruitt, Greg Pruitt, Felix Wright, Travis Tucker, Anthony Griggs, Ralph Holley, Sugar Dre, Donovan, and Clayton Callender. We'll all be here, like I said, at Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio, for meet and greets, autographs, bowling with everybody. I'm just trying to see if anything's getting started here. All right, I think we're still good, but Justin's pulling it up. All right, man.
I got you, brother.
Sweet. All right. Oh, advertisement on YouTube.
Always,
what a bummer. So it's going to be a fun day. I think, Justin, your back's still broken?
Yes. Yeah. I went to the doctor. It's not technically broken, but it just hurts really bad. It's fine. It's no big deal. I have no audio complaints on YouTube.
Okay, good. How about video?
Video looked good.
Did it? I will say this to anybody who's watching right now as we kick this thing off here today. Wi-Fi capability here at the bowling alley, not the greatest. So if we are buffering, cutting in and out, the stream isn't smooth, that's why. And if it's just unbearable to watch or whatever, we're obviously recording the whole thing, so it'll be back out everywhere for you guys to catch after we are finished. So I'm just going to bring this up, but what do you want to talk about here, Justin, while we kind of kick this whole thing off?
Obviously, if you're in the Dover and New Philly area of Ohio, T-County, come on down to the Wabash Lanes. Come and hang out with us. We're going to be here for probably a few hours. Anything particular you'd like to dive into before you get started that has made the news?
Well, before we do that, I see we do have one comment here. James McGee, thanks for watching, says, was seriously considering driving from Charlotte to come up to the events. Said couldn't talk the wife into it. We were talking about that before the show.
That's what we do.
The wife, it's always nice to float the ideas by her, but in the end, no. Usually doesn't work. But I just hope everyone has a great time. Go Browns. Yeah, so, we're going to get some opinions from some of these former players today on the current state of the Browns. Obviously, we'll talk the quarterback situation. We'll be talking about, the rookies, some of the recent speculation. I know we can kind of mention it here real quick. I think Daniel Jeremiah was on, I'm not really sure what outlet he was on the other day, but they were asking him about the Browns quarterback situation, and he said that his strong opinion is that one of the two rookies will start week one.
Wow.
Right out of the gate, and his justification for it was, the Browns can't really screw around this year. They have got to figure out what they have, if anything, out of the two rookies before they head into next offseason, because next draft season we got 2 first-round picks. We need to know, are we using one or potentially both of those first-round picks on a quarterback or not? Or do we have our guy? So, he was saying that Kenny Pickett's the odd man out in his opinion, gone.
I agree with that.
And, rather than having the Browns start Joe Flacco, kind of like we've been talking about, and then organically moving into one of the rookies once that, happens on its own, he's saying just kind of have Joe Flacco on the bench as your backup plan in case things go really bad. Neither rookie can do anything. We're not competent. We suck. We're losing games. And then just, inject some Flacco to bring a little life to the team if necessary. But that was his take on it, was start a rookie, whichever one shows out better in camp from day one.
I just would be very, very surprised by that.
Me too.
I would be very, very surprised, especially – you got a guy, even though he's, in his 40s, he's old. And Joe Flacco, he's comfortable, I would say, in that system. My biggest concern was just throwing a rookie out there on week one is that you throw them out there too early and they're not ready. And then we've talked about it. Let's say you throw him out there. Let's say you throw Dillon Gabriel out there week 1 and he struggles. There's a really good chance he doesn't ever get back to being the starting quarterback again. And especially, like, the thing that's rough for me is I've watched this happen so many times with this team where, you know, even when we're like, we're not going to play the rookie, we always end up getting to the rookie at some point. And I think that we've kind of maybe damaged confidence of some of those players. You know, maybe their futures in the NFL potentially. But I do want one of those guys to be successful. I want one of those guys to be the franchise guy. I think you have to, like, kind of tiptoe it just a little bit. You don't want to throw them in there too early and then destroy their confidence and then maybe lose out on something that could have worked out.
I mean, very rarely do you see a rookie quarterback start week 1 for an NFL team as rookie season outside of a first-round pick.
Correct.
Right? You don't really, especially once you get past where these guys, I mean, late third for Dillon, 5th round for Shedeur, and the only thing that is different, and I think this is why it's such a polarizing topic with Browns fans and the media, national media, and everybody, is Shedeur Sanders is widely regarded as not a 5th round pick. He was widely regarded as a talent, widely regarded as a first round talent. So do you have a first round talented quarterback from the 5th round on your roster right now? And I think he's just not your average 5th round pick. If it was Dillon Gabriel and Will Howard, you know, we got him in the late 5th or the 6th where the Steelers got him or whatever. Now you're talking, okay, we've got 2 rookies, but I mean, let's face it, they're both mid to late round guys. Shedeur's not that.
Right.
At least in the mind and the eyes of most talent evaluators and obviously all the fans.
I think this had the potential eventually with them taking 2 rookie quarterbacks to blow up into a big situation. The fact that, because as Browns fans, we would have talked about this regardless. Like you said, if it was Howard, I think if it was
Quinn
Howard.
Ewers.
Yeah, I think regardless, we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be arguing about this. This is what we do as a fan base. You know what I mean? Who's the guy? Who's the quarterback? We still are looking 30 years later. Now you throw in Shedeur Sanders with a fan base, and, you know, the dude is a polarizing player. And so now you have almost like 2 sets of fans. You got one, you know, cheering for Shedeur, hoping that he's successful. You've got another set saying, you know, maybe it's Gabriel, maybe it's Flacco. It's just a lot of...
There's some Picketeers out there, for sure.
I don't know how many of those
I see them. I see them in the comments. Oh, yeah.
I'm not there yet.
If you're a Picketeer and you're watching right now, drop it in the comments. Let us know.
I'd be interested. I would.
I think Kenny Pickett has the lowest touchdown rate of any quarterback in the last 25 years or something like that, if I remember. I heard this stat on another show, and I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was something like that. Like
super encouraging.
Yeah, like his touchdown rate in Pittsburgh, and I get it. Blake will always say, you know, the Matt Canada offense, Pittsburgh, you know, they sucked those years and everything. I mean, at some point, you still got to be able to throw a touchdown pass, you would think, and he just never was really able to. But we'll kind of see how that goes. And then another thing that you said, you know, I said polarizing situation. You said polarizing with Shedeur, and I've had people in the comments say, "Oh, you know, I can't believe you guys would call Shedeur polarizing. Like that's just hater talk." Let's talk about what the definition of polarizing is. Polarizing means that there is such a wide range of opinions on a topic or a person or what have you. You know, and like you said, from all the way to fans are saying he's QB1 right now, put him in, he's ready to go. And then there's fans saying he's a 5th round pick. You know, he's not. There's people saying cut him.
I literally saw the cut stuff, and I was just like...
Polarizing is just the widest range of opinions you can possibly get about a topic, and that's what he is. I mean, he brings that, and I think that, you know, ever since he's got to Cleveland, and he came early, he came, like, immediately. He's been here the entire time. He's been working his tail off. He's been participating so much in the community, helping out with a lot of youth, you know, going to schools and youth programs and things like that. It's been really encouraging. And then, you know, obviously you get the 2 speeding tickets or whatever, and everybody blows up online.
That's what I mean, do we want to even touch on that? We can. I mean,
we're sitting here waiting for this event to kick off, so we might as well just do a...
I did see some of those comments where it's like, you know, the Browns need to cut him right now. And so I'm not going to defend nor, you know, I'll just say it how it is. I was young once.
Sure.
I made mistakes once, you know. And hopefully the goal that you get out of that is that you learn from those mistakes. You know, now like the 2 tickets in 11 days, it doesn't look good. It kind of is a bad look. But, you know, we're talking about a young man here, you know, and we're allowed to make mistakes. At the end of the day, it could have ended very differently, but there was nothing consequential that came out of this. And if it's an opportunity for him to learn and go, okay, hey, I can't do this, then what should we? Why are we upset?
Right. Myles Garrett, I think 3-4 times or 6? Was it 6 speeding incidences with Myles until he finally flipped his car?
Yeah, right.
Lucky that him and his his girlfriend or the passenger with him was they were fine. They weren't hurt.
Yep.
No one died. I mean, I don't live in Cleveland, so I don't drive those highways. I've seen a lot of people in comments saying, hey, like, sometimes you got to go 85 just to keep up with traffic. Right. And I mean, hey, I've been on highways where it's a 65 speed limit, and all of a sudden I'm doing 80, 85 just to kind of keep up or get past some people.
Just did it.
Well, if you're keeping up at 85, it's real easy to get to 100. There's a lot of context that goes around with this stuff. It's not just that he was out there speed racing like Rashee Rice or anything like that. Right. I think it's a big nothing burger.
I mean, it sucks. It sucks that I felt like momentum was completely going like his direction. You know?
And I think that's another point. So that's a good point. So I did say that on social media, and I don't know if it was conveyed exactly the way I meant it, but he just has, while this is not, in my opinion, a big deal, he just has less room for mistakes, I feel like, because of where he was drafted, kind of the way the Browns are, they're really in on Dylan Gabriel. I have no idea really how they feel about Kenny Pickett. We'll find out here if they trade him, in the coming weeks. And if they roll into training camp with all 4 of these guys, I mean, every little thing you can do to give yourself an edge, you got to do right now. And I guess that was just the most disappointing thing for me. And it wasn't just, it's a speeding ticket. It sucked that it had to be anything, because now obviously every news outlet runs with it. Correct. And, should the Browns cut him and all this other nonsense. So
things like this happen. Honestly, I'll be shocked if I think Shedeur is locked in. You know what I mean? Like he's on a rookie quarterback deal. I think he's on our roster unless something changes. Maybe I don't see the Browns trading him, honestly, unless it's hard to tell. I mean, we're talking about June 21st today. Yep. We have a lot of time to go, but I see Gabriel and Shedeur both being on this team moving forward, and then like we talked about right off the bat, you got to find out what you got a little bit with these guys, because you're on a ticking clock. I do think Flacco starts off just at the beginning, maybe 4 to 6 games, and then I think you get a slice of what each of these guys can do. I don't see Kenny being here. I've watched Kenny Pickett play multiple times. You know what I mean? I've seen him play a lot, pretty decent amount, and you don't hear anything coming out of camp or any of the OTAs or anything really about Kenny, other than like mainstream Cleveland media where they're saying like he's the number 1, which I'm like, when I watch stuff, I'm seeing a lot of Shedeur highlights. I'm seeing Flacco, here and there. He's not really doing a lot either.
He hasn't had a lot of opportunity either.
I think they're just kind of letting him just relax and just go with the flow of the thing. Yep. But I do think they've got to see if they got a guy heading into next year's draft, but don't ruin either one of these guys.
Right, and the veterans on the team, we've talked about this before. We talked to Joe Thomas on the show like last month, and the veterans, Joel Bitonio, the Wyatt Tellers, the Myles Garretts, these guys, they want to win games. Like, they're not going out there and going through the rigors of the NFL, regular season schedule, the wear and tear on your body, just to suck every week. That's where you saw last year, like the body language on the field. Everybody, you could just tell they were not bought in. They hated what was going on, and if Joe Flacco gives you the best opportunity to avoid that, at least to start the season, it'd be nice to start out strong. But again, who knows? Maybe one of the rookies just balls out in training camp, and it makes sense to do it that way. But we'll see what ends up happening. Before we talk about anything else here, we'll take a little break here in a few minutes and try to get a couple players down here to talk with us, seeing if everybody's ready to go. Just want to thank Omaha Steaks for sponsoring this live stream today. They sponsored the entire live stream. We appreciate that. Head to omahasteaks.com. You guys get packages and all the food you can get for 4th of July cookouts, because it's coming up quick, and it's the best time to grill out. And right now you can get 50% off site-wide, and then use our promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, when you check out, and you'll get $45 extra off your order on top of that 50% off. So it's a great sale, great time to get in there and get some Omaha Steaks. So thanks to them for sponsoring the show. Oh, let's see. There was a couple comments in here. Echo That Media says he's talking about Shedeur, will be QB1. He is already the number 1 selling jersey for Cleveland and was 77% completion. Yes, very polarizing. If we're talking completion percentage in OTAs and minicamp,
I think he's talking about
if he's talking about in college, yes, his college
Huge.
completion percentage is
Huge.
very impressive. And we've seen guys who come into the NFL with bad completion percentages. And really, there's only been 2 guys that have worked out, and it's been Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Sure.
They both had like 50-some% in college completion percents, and
worked at it.
And worked at it. Yes. And then you're talking. And the thing with both of those guys is they had other abilities to offset it, at least to start.
Yeah.
But even a guy like Anthony Richardson, who has that athletic ability to offset his poor completion percentage from college, you saw that translate immediately to the NFL. He sucks. He can't complete anything. I mean, at least for his first 2 years, which was still kind of limited action because he was hurt and stuff. So most of the time, bad completion percentage in college does translate to bad completion percentage in the NFL. Shedeur's got the best.
Yeah.
The best. And, Tony Grossi was talking how Dylan Gabriel, he's got the tighter spiral. He can put the ball kind of like, what was he, like slinging the ball or whatever. But man, Shedeur can layer the ball.
Yeah.
Like some of his throws that I've seen, even
Touch.
just through the mini camp stuff on the highlights, it's touch.
Yeah, touch.
It's so nice.
Pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah.
Drop it where you want it, which I think would work in a Kevin Stefanski offense.
Yeah.
I've heard different things too from a couple of different media, Cleveland Browns stuff, where they're saying, Gabriel's almost got an advantage on the playbook too, like as far as like his knowledge and the verbiage and stuff like that. That's like another thing for me where I'm like, I don't even look at it like as a disadvantage. We have a month before the next organized, what camp? Is it just rookies coming in, right?
So training camp, the rookies come July 18th,
Okay,
and then
cool.
the veterans come 4 days later on the 22nd.
Okay. I mean, that's some time to work on some things and look at the playbook and get the verbiage figured out. And so, and who knows, maybe Gabriel takes a step forward and you have a legit, real competition at this thing here in the next 5-6 weeks.
The thing between these two, and I think this is a good conversation to have, we talked about how outside of first-round picks, you don't really see these rookie quarterbacks start week 1 or be ready for the NFL or at that level. With Gabriel, he was actually evaluated by the pre-draft analysts and everything as a 3rd or 4th, maybe even 5th, who depends on who you're talking to, round talent.
Right.
Whereas Shedeur was not. Right. I mean, nobody said he was a 5th-round talent.
Not a chance.
Like we talked about last episode, maybe early 2nd-round talent at the worst.
At the worst.
Was like the worst assessment anybody gave him. So I think he might have an edge as far as that stuff is concerned. Now, through OTAs and minicamp, I did see those reports that Gabriel just had, like you said, a better grasp of the playbook, the concepts and all that kind of stuff, which is more why Shedeur was on the separate practice field taking all the reps. Like he took pretty much 100% of reps on his field.
Right.
It was against the backups. But if the Browns saw that and said, okay, we like what we see with his talent, we just need to make sure he's up to speed with whatever it is, breaking the huddle, calling plays in the huddle, coming up to the line, evaluating the defense from, behind under center, all that kind of stuff. Well, he got a heck of a lot of reps at minicamp to work on that, which I think is good. And minicamp was really to prepare these guys for training camp.
I think when everything's said and done, I think just as Browns fans, we just want to see one of those two, I guess both those rookies, we want to see some context with it. You know what I mean? We don't. I don't want to. If it's the end of camp or we're going into preseason games and stuff, and we're still not seeing anything with like Shedeur, even like I'd like to see him get on the first team. I'd like to see him with the starters. And same with Gabriel. I'm excited to go up to camp. I can't wait to get up to camp and at least finally get some like unbiased, just my own eyes on it and see what we're doing up there. Now, who knows? Maybe the Browns, by the time they open it up to media, who knows what that looks like or what we're doing up there. But I just would like to see both those guys in person.
Oh, definitely, man. Did you get your eyes on the situation? Because we're just relying on reports from all these other people that don't always provide context with what they're seeing. And it sucks because we're really trying to sift through the weeds to figure out what's a good takeaway and what's kind of a throwaway. And I don't know, but I think it's it's just such an interesting situation for the Browns. 4 guys that could legitimately, I mean, depending on who you talk to, be the week 1 starter.
I've heard every answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've heard you hear Flacco. I mean, like, I think a general part of the fan base probably wants Flacco at the beginning.
Absolutely.
You know, that we're living off 2023 dreams and stuff, which that's fine. You know, if that works at the time, cool. But, you know, I've heard the other 3 too. You know, I've heard, hey, you know, I think Kenny. I'm like, oh, okay. But, you know, with the rookies, I'm like, it would make sense. I could see Shedeur being a starter. Mm-hmm. And if he goes out and really, 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 like, absolutely excels before week 1, maybe they slide him into week 1, but I think it's an uphill battle for, you know, getting to that point.
Oh, I mean, let me ask you this, because, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there listening that have asked this question before and everything, but do you think the Browns did themselves any bit of disservice here by drafting 2 rookies and piling up 2 first-round picks next year? I mean, because you talked about putting rookies out there before they're ready, and how that happens. But the Browns are almost in a situation where whether they're ready or not, they're going to have to get them out there. It's almost like there's extra pressure on these guys to be ready, even if they're not. And there's extra pressure on the Browns to force them out there to potentially make those same mistakes they've made in years past. What do you think about that?
I know, for me personally, and I'm not saying the Browns, but for me personally, I pounded the table to get some friggin' quarterback competition in this room, because I walked away from last year going, this isn't it. Yeah. This isn't what I can't sit here and watch this for another 16 games or 17 games, you know. So I'm glad that they did this. I do think that it came to them kind of weird, because I don't think they plan on taking 2 quarterbacks in the draft. I really don't. And I think Shedeur just kind of fell to a point where you're like, this is insane not to, you know, like, your return on talent, to not take him in the 5th round. Like, it grows to a point where you just have to be like, this is a no-brainer. What are we doing here, guys? Yeah. Especially if the kid is a stud and he can go out there and be your franchise quarterback, you know, for the next 10 years. That's everything that we've ever wished for as Browns fans. We just want stability at the quarterback position. But in a way, it feels messy. You know what I mean? It feels messy from a fan perspective. I know the Cleveland media, it's painted very messy. You have a lot of people that aren't fans of the Browns going, or even maybe they are Browns fans, saying, why would we ever bring 4 quarterbacks in for a competition like this? And you're going, because of last year. And because it was so disastrous, you have to find a guy. And I think they traded 2 just to potentially look for a guy next year. The writing's on the wall there.
It is. It's, and to anybody who's still, again, saying, hey, guys, you know, enough with the quarterback conversation. Nope, not going to happen, guys. We're going to be talking about this all summer and probably, honestly, all season. It's going to be the driving topic of conversation for the Browns, because it's the most important position in sports. It's the position that we cannot get right for 30-plus years or whatever it's been. It's been freaking ridiculous. And it's what it is. I mean, we're going to be talking about it. I almost feel kind of bad. I do feel a little bit bad for Dillon Gabriel, because, you know, by all accounts, great kid, hard worker, driven. You know, the Browns deeply investigated into his abilities and his fit with this team, and they handpicked him as the guy. And,
that was their guy.
You know, like you said, I don't think they planned on taking 2, because they punted on Shedeur so many times that any other team could have taken him. And they would have been okay with it, obviously, because they didn't take him. Right. Until it got to a point, like you said, where the value was just too much to pass up. But, you know, he's coming in here, and it just, if he really is that first-round talent that everybody said he was, I mean, that's the guy you got to hope can live up to that billing.
It's crazy. If he is that guy, he just potentially, no matter what happens next year, saved Andrew Berry's job. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, I know we're all saying, hey, the pick was traded at 2, and there's long-term guarantee as far as job stability with Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. But if you're able to land a franchise quarterback in the 5th round, despite all the salary cap stuff, like, that's almost like a San Francisco situation. You know what I mean? Where you're getting Brock Purdy super late, not as late as, you know, the 7th, but as far as just the contract goes, it saves so much on the dead cap, and even just the cap in general when you're trying to battle against a Watson expiring contract that is just,
we'll be paying on the Watson contract for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way they spread it out, and I think Jack Duffin has updated, and I think I need to update also my expectations because I've been saying what Jack's been saying because I trust in him.
Yeah.
About how the Browns will restructure or however it works to split it over 2 more years, 2 more void years, but cut him in as a post June 1st designation in March 2026. There, got it all out.
Right.
Now he's saying after they just restructured a few months ago for this season, that's going to push that situation out till 2027. So March 2027 is when he can be cut. So he'll be here next year and healthy. Yeah, I mean, assuming, right, that, everything's cool with the Achilles recovery and everything, but it just makes the whole thing messier.
One thing real quick. Hi, Sophia. Just want to say hi. Blake's daughter's watching.
Yeah, so we are not allowed to curse on today's show. We weren't planning on it anyway too much. We'll see what these other guys want to do.
Do you remember when I joked around with you guys, like maybe 2 months ago, when Watson was putting out the workout videos and all this stuff, and I was like, is there a potential that this guy is on the roster still down the road? And we kind of made the decision like, yeah, probably not, right? If it's next year, what do you do? Because you can't just, hey, handshake deal, go on IR.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if he's healthy, is there a team that's going to trade for him? Probably not, especially when there's a ton of dead cap attached to it. Or I guess it depends on how that all works out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a Jack question. But, man, do you want to talk about how it's crazy and, like, polarizing and tons of media coverage now? Imagine next year when you still have Shedeur, Watson's in the room, probably adding another quarterback, in the draft in the first round.
That's a great point because
messy.
Tony Grossi, I think, it was Grossi, was on a show the other day or something and said that, in his opinion, the franchise quarterback for the Browns is in next year's draft.
I saw your post on that.
And it's not anybody that's on the roster right now. And his projection was next year would be a first-round pick at quarterback in the room, along with Gabriel and Shedeur. But you're right. If we're not able to part ways financially, cap hit-wise with Watson until 2027, that would be 4 quarterbacks next year. And how can you allocate? Because the thing is, like with Watson, you can't waive him and then put him on the practice squad and all that kind of stuff because of the contract. So he has to stay on the team, on the active roster. That is going to get hairy because then you won't be able to this is if like Shedeur or Gabriel don't work out this year because you can't keep both those guys and invest a first-round pick in a guy and have 4 guys on the roster. Someone's got to go.
All I'm doing is just laying down the foundation of what next year's confusion is going to look like. Dysfunction. That's pretty much what it is, which would be par for the norm.
So basically, outside of Gabriel or Shedeur, hopefully, taking the reins this year and showing that, yes, they are the franchise guy, yes, they're the future, we can move forward with one of them at quarterback, it's just going to get messier.
Yeah.
Or potentially get messier and just,
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Well, for anybody new tuning in, we are live today from Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio for the Bowling with Browns Legends event. And we got people lining up here getting ready to start throwing some balls, it looks like. Nobody's bowling yet, but again, the event just started about 20 minutes ago officially, so I think everybody's coming in doing some meet and greets and all that kind of stuff. Tuscarawas County Browns backers, want to thank them for putting on this event. This is awesome. They've been doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, great
lately.
stuff.
So we're going to have some guys, some former Browns players sit down and talk with us, talk with you guys, share their opinions on the team, and just probably share some of their stories and stuff as well. Again, if you're local to this area, come on down.
Yeah, come
Wabash
down.
Lanes. I think actually bowling on the lanes was by reservation, but they may have a lane or two later in the day that opens up where you could get on and bowl. But anybody can come down, get some autographs. There's autograph packages and all kinds of things. Get some pictures. The
prizes,
raffles.
the raffle prizes over there are insane.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I guess I could read through some of those. I
saw my Nick Chubb mini that I took up for Rich sitting up there. So that definitely is up there.
Let me just see if I can. Well, I'll pull it up here in a minute, but let me see if anybody looks like they're about ready to come on over. Maybe we'll talk here for a few more minutes and stuff like that. But I guess we could have a wide receiver conversation. I feel like we do that on every show, but it's important because outside of Judy, who again 1 year, awesome that he did it one time. He's had a 117 game stretch of being elite in his 5-year career.
Yeah.
we're going to need a repeat of that for sure from him to justify that top spot like we have. But Cedric Tillman at the 2, the dude just doesn't stay healthy, man. Like, he's not been on the field when really we need him for a stretch. And like Blake says all the time, that goes back to college. He was injury
history.
So
and then, I like the.
Sounds like we're getting started over here. We'll just take a quick break, guys, and then we'll be back on here in a few minutes. Just give us a second. All right, we're back, and we are still alone at the table, but that's because all the alumni are doing a little meet and greet thing right now. So we'll be getting, I think, the first two guys should be Mike Pruitt and Felix Wright are going to sit down with us here in a few minutes. So while we wait for them, we'll just continue BSing with you guys here in the chat. Like I said before, we are at the Bowl with Browns Legends. Legends Bowling. They branded it a couple different ways. Either way, we're bowling with former Browns players. This is pretty awesome here today. Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio. Presented by the Tuscarawas County Browns backers. They're putting this whole thing on. It is awesome. So if you guys are local, like we've said, get on down here, check it out, hang out, meet and greet everybody. And hopefully now we got some balls rolling behind us. It doesn't get too loud down here on the lanes, but we're having a good time. The live stream today presented by Omaha Steaks. Make sure you guys go to omahasteaks.com. Get your packages, your steaks, your burgers, everything that you need for 4th of July right now. They got 50% off site-wide. And then use our code when you check out, BARK, promo code BARK, to get $45 off your order at omahasteaks.com. All right, man. We've talked, well, we were talking receivers before we had to abruptly take a quick break.
Pause,
there.
Yeah.
So we talked about Judy, talked about the Tillman injury history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Deontay Johnson could be, we've said it, could be your wide receiver one on some weeks. Like, he is a wide receiver one
He can be that dude.
He can be that dude, exactly. Or he could be unemployed.
I know. It's shaky ground, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just at a quick look at the depth chart, you're just like, man, there's not a lot behind it. You know what I mean? and I'm just talking about, like, I'm talking second tier, third tier. We're genuinely talking nervous about starters. We're talking about, like, I think moving into this year, we're pretty comfortable with what we can get from Judy, right?
Yeah.
We just like to see it again. At least, you know, a solid year.
Yep.
If he puts up 1,200 yards, I'm like, hey, that's a good year. I'm fine with that. I'd like to see Tillman stay on the field. If he can do anything like he did in that little 3-game stretch, I think he can be very, very dependable. The guy cannot stay healthy for some reason. And then, like we talked about with Deontay Johnson, I like Deontay Johnson. He was a guy I used to be very nervous about with the Browns, you know, because he was like their one weapon, you know what I mean? If he can get back to even like that form that he had those first, 3-4 games in Carolina last year where like he was leaned on, I mean, it could be an absolute steal. It's a league minimum. We were the only team that reached out to him, you know, from what I've read. So, but behind that, you know, you're asking a lot of guys that you've been asking, and they can't seem to stay either healthy or elevate themselves up the depth chart. And Michael Woods, David Bell, you know.
Mm-hmm. David Bell recovering from the hip.
Right. You got Jamari Thrash. We're not sure. You know, we see nice things, but we're not sure.
Caught, 3 passes last year as a rookie? I mean, it's bleak. It's barren for sure. And, you know, the thing with Deontay Johnson, you know, watching him with the Steelers, going back in time in the memory machine and everything, like top-level talent whenever he's on, whenever he's getting targeted, whenever he's being a focal point in the offense. But when he's not, that's where you start to see the problems.
Like the fumble play where he just kind of just took
the fumble
play
play.
off,
You'll see him, and he's not going to block. Yeah. He's not going to shoot off the line and block anybody if he's not feeling like he's involved in the game plan. So he's got such an extensive history of this, and I don't mean to harp on the guy, but at the same time, we're fans. We're just talking about what we see. He's got such a long history of being like that. Do you think it really changes? I mean, so we get out there, say we have not competent quarterback play, which isn't a stretch to say for the Browns. I mean, that's well within the realm of possibility, unfortunately. And he's not getting, targeted. He's not a focal point. You could easily see him checking out, right?
Yeah. I mean, I watched our number 1 last year do that.
That's true. Amari Cooper checked out quick. Week 1.
Yeah. I mean, we saw eyes roll and stuff like that, bad body language. It feels like, at least for Deontay, it feels like a last ride. You know what I mean? Like, this is the last chance probably to get on a roster and then, prove that, like, the silly stuff is behind him. And I don't know exactly what personally he went through because, you know what I mean? I'm just a fan. But, and I can't speak on that. But I want to believe that the guy's going to come in with good head on his shoulders, you know what I mean? And prove that there's a reason why he was one of those dudes not that long ago. Yeah. So,
I mean, it was just, like you said, just last year with Carolina starting off the season.
Hot.
Yeah. But I think he fell out of favor there probably because the quarterback play wasn't the best. I don't know if he was. Dalton, I don't know if he was as heavily utilized in the offense as he wanted to be or thought he should be or whatever. So, yeah, the wide receiver situation is not great. And so we signed another tight end the other day, Sal Cannella.
I saw that,
Sal Cannella from the UFL. I'm doing all this off of memory now. Trying to remember
Kind of
the Arlington
Is it Renegades?
Renegades, yes. Yeah, that's who it was. And so tight end, he's like 6'4", 230. So tall, but a little undersized as far as weight goes. But he was the, I think, leading receiver. He either led all tight ends or the entire UFL. I can't remember, in receiving yards. And the year before that was like in receiving touchdowns. Like, he's been a stud in the UFL. Now the Browns signed him. They cut Trey McKitty. And I keep seeing a lot of people say, why are we not signing any wide receivers? Why do we keep signing these tight end guys? Well, one, I think we're running a lot more two and three tight end sets this year. I think we're going to be utilizing the tight end position more.
Yes. And
at the same time, who are we signing at wide receiver right now? There's nobody in free agency to sign. Don't even say Keenan Allen, guys. He's not coming here. He's not going to come here 33 on the last year of his career or whatever
with uncertainty.
With uncertainty at the quarter. No, it's not going to happen. So we've already got a crap ton. Blake, I said crap ton. I hope you like that. We got a crap ton of these like wide receiver UDFA guys to help us through camp, to be our camp bodies and stuff. Sure. You got your Keyshawn Johnsons, your Caden Davis, your Luke Floria. There's a ton of them to help out. I just don't see who else they're going to sign right now at that position, especially when, man, if they're rolling in with the wide receiver position the way it is, then you got to expect that they're thinking we're going tight end heavy this year.
Yeah. It's going to be Judy and Tillman / Deontay.
And then I think obviously there's going to be a heavy focus on Njoku.
Yes.
I think Njoku's probably your 2.
That's fair.
I know we keep saying Tillman as the 2 and all that kind of stuff, but I think if you're talking about just pass catchers in general, Judy would be your like pass catcher 1.
Yep.
And Njoku's your pass catcher 2.
Yep.
And then I think 3 is kind of up for grabs between Tillman, Johnson if he makes the team.
Sure.
And then Harold Fannin Jr. I think could very much get pushed in through this rotation quickly as a rookie, just because, first of all, he's 20 years old and he is already he's only played tight end for 3 seasons. That's it, his entire life. And he didn't just like acclimate to the position and become a pretty good tight end. He became the best receiver in the entire nation last year. Like, at the tight end position, compared to the other teams, not a great school. Bowling Green led the nation in receiving. So, the guy can obviously pick it up and run with it.
The crazy thing, too, with him is, like, you look at his stats and everything, and it's like, 1,400 and something yards.
1,500.
1,500?
Yeah.
And he was the guy. Everybody going into that weekend game, the Bowling Green game, when you're scouting them up, that was the dude.
Yes.
That was the dude you had to shut down, and he still did all of that, despite probably being heavily focused as far as, like, defensive planning and all that. I almost could see him, and I don't like the comp as far as the name, because the name hasn't lived up, but almost like a Kyle Pitts, just super athletic, like, can you put him in the slot if you had to? Sure, you know what I mean? Because he is a little undersized as far as, like, like a typical, like, blocking tight end.
Well, let me throw a different name at you that I've heard.
Okay.
I heard comped. And this was during the pre-draft process, and I thought this was a good one for him, but Isaiah Likely for the Ravens.
Oh, yeah, super athletic, yeah.
Just that type, and Likely's the same way, undersized for the position.
Yep.
The typical, prototypical inline blocking tight end type of body. Like, he's just not that.
Right.
But, man, is he athletic. He can catch. He can make plays. He can yards after the catch. That's Harold Fannin.
Yep.
And I think that he could end up playing a lot more and being more involved in the offense than what people might think.
Right. Oh, and then, I don't think this is going to happen, but, Njoku's contract's up next year.
Yeah. And he's going to be, 30?
Yeah, getting older.
Yeah.
I know he's, Cleveland, like, he is, like, the heart of Cleveland sports right now, basically, as far as, like, the hype man. But, we've seen this team now go, hey, we think you might be at the end of the road. We're going a different direction with players that we've loved, and, like a Jarvis, like a Nick Chubb, like, they aren't against moving away from guys if they think they're at the end. So, could Harold Fannin be the guy, behind Njoku? Absolutely, but hopefully Njoku just finishes in Cleveland.
Yeah, well, we talk all the time about how Njoku's used so much in the blocking game.
Yeah.
Well, if you're using him as your blocker on certain pass plays or whatever, you're trying to run a play action pass and you need him in line to do something, well, now you got a guy behind him who you don't need to do that,
right,
but who can make plays for your offense. And I think we've been lacking that big time. I mean, we tried with Austin Hooper. We tried with Harrison Bryant.
Yep.
I mean, he was the best tight end in college that year. I mean, we've tried with some legitimate people. I mean, Austin Hooper was a good signing at the time because he was coming off a great year, looked like a good option.
He was a highest paid tight end in the league when we signed him.
That's right. Yeah, we did. We did.
Him out. Yeah.
That's right. And so, I mean, we have given this a shot, and I almost feel like that's becoming a theme where the Browns are just trying so hard at some of these positions to get it right, and they just keep missing. And then, like Blake always says, is that Andrew Berry's fault on talent evaluation from the scouting side of things, or is it on the coaching to not being able to develop or get the most out of these guys? I mean, it could be both, too. I don't know, but this is a year where we're going to need to see some guys take strides, develop. We're going to need to see some guys make impacts early in their careers. The rookies, Judkins and Fannin, we talked about, Schlesinger on defense. Mason Graham, we're going to need to see these guys pretty much justify what we did picking them, because we all thought, hey, these were great picks. Hopefully it plays out that way.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Blake's brought that up too. He's always, he says like after the draft, the grade's usually very solid.
Right.
And so like at the time, analysts believe that those guys were in the appropriate places and stuff like that. And then if they end up busting, which, that's a normal part of football,
Sure.
Guys bust, they don't work out. But when it becomes a pattern almost, it's hard to argue against. And I like Andrew Berry. I like some of the, a lot of the things that they've done. But, if guys continue to just not work out at certain position groups, whether it's wide receiver, quarterback,
Well, and so going back to the quarterback conversation, maybe a little bit here, but, Dylan Gabriel was that late third-round pick. And I can't bring it up right now, and I don't have all the names off the top of my head. But I made a post on social media a while back detailing all the third-round picks that Andrew Berry has made over the last 5 drafts. And how... Okay.
Awesome.
Did you just want to come over now? You can come on over.
I'm Anthony Griggs.
Hey, Josh Hall. Nice to meet you.
Anthony, nice to meet you. Justin.
Justin and Justin.
Yep.
All right, here you go. You can put that on. All right, so we've got Anthony Griggs sitting down with us. Oh, I'm sorry, here. All right, we got you now?
I think so.
There we go. All right. How's it going today?
It's going good. This ain't a gridiron, that's for sure.
No. So, yeah, we're here. I'm sorry, now I'm trying to get all my... There we go. There he is. Everybody can see him. Justin, why don't you talk for a second? I'm going to adjust my cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony, thanks for coming and sitting down with us, man. Just want to kind of just give some people some background on you. You played linebacker for the Browns. Mm-hmm. Taking us to where we're at right now as far as like Cleveland Browns in the 2025 season, you have J.O.K. He emerged as a star for us, a young star.
Correct.
Got injured, there's some uncertainty about, his future career in general. What are your thoughts on just the linebacker room in general right now?
I like the linebacker. I like the defense overall. I hope they can get back to being what they were, say, 2 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's going to be from the DBs and the linebackers. I always feel they had a pretty good defensive line. They got some people in the draft this year. So overall, as a defense, it's going to have to work together with that. I'd like to see them do that, and I think that's going to be the backbone of their success. Okay, yeah, you're looking for offense, looking for big playmakers and everything else, but you got to be able to stop the run, especially when you're talking about the AFC North. There's some killers up there. They got some backs, and they got the linemen. And the Steelers and Cincinnati, what they got. So I'm excited about this season with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what was the question you just asked? I'm sorry, I missed it.
With J.O.K. being out, I just said, what are your thoughts on how the linebacker room is looking?
Yeah. Linebacker this year, I feel like they did a pretty good job. And then because I was kind of going through the cap and everything, the salary cap and what they allocated to that position. And Andrew Berry and that front office, they don't allocate much. I think it's like probably the least spent on position group on the team, or at least historically with them. But I feel like they got really good value this year with bringing in guys like they brought Devin Bush back, who I thought did pretty well last year. Jerome Baker, who I've always liked, in the NFL.
Hicks.
And then, they still got Jordan Hicks, and then those UDFAs that they've had, Diabate, Winston Reed last year showed out.
That's right.
I was very impressed with Reed last year. So do you want to just kind of talk about maybe the younger guys like the Reed, the Diabate, and even talk about Carson Schlesinger?
Well, as a linebacker, you got to keep that fire going. Okay, and I think you come in with young guys like that, okay, UFAs, whatever, coming in, I think you're going to have, that's going to be the culture. Your defense is going to be only as good as your linebackers that are making plays sometimes, especially when you get against a good run team or whatever. Yeah. And I think that when you get these young guys coming in, and I say young, they're all young,
right,
as far as their longevity of being with the Browns. Because even Devin Bush, when he was with the Steelers, they were waiting for him to get there. Now he's matured a little bit more, and he understands a little bit better and hope durability. The thing with linebackers, that's one thing you want is that durability, because you don't want to keep changing pieces as the season goes along. You want to get those young guys in there. I think you're going to see the scheme of things is going to be that you get these linebackers who can come off the edge a little bit more. You send them on blitzes, but it's going to be based on how their secondary is going. Can we cover man-to-man? Can we cover deep zone? Can we cover somebody else? And then we're going to have our linebackers come out. I know it's a lot of technical stuff with that, but
it's all good,
I think that these linebackers are coming in with a desire to show how good they can be. They're tired of hearing all the other linebackers or linebacker or linebackers in Cincinnati or linebackers in Cleveland. I mean, in Steelers. So now they're going to try to just build that up in the cultures of Cleveland Browns.
No, that's great, because I mean, I don't know how much you know about us. We're a fan-based podcast, and so having guys like you come on here and talk about the player side of things is huge, because it just gives a different perspective that obviously we can't provide or anything like that. Or so,
and that's a different and I understand that. And believe me, before you become a player in the NFL, you are a fan somewhere. So then you get to play there, and you're like, man. And the first question in your mind that comes in is at least for me was, man, I'm up here playing at this level. Can I play here? And then you quickly learn, maybe the first practice or a while, that you can play here. Now it's a matter of, can I learn it here? Can I do it consistently? Because it's a hard game to play. It takes a beating on your body, but you've got to understand what you're supposed to do on every single play. There is no excuses to that. So as young guys coming in, they've already gotten past that first barrier, that first rung on the ladder of just coming in, learn, and now you got to produce. And this is the year we want some production.
Absolutely. You kind of talked about the defense getting back to that 2023 form. We touched on it last year. We thought the defense, for the most part, was still pretty much in place, but they were just on the field so damn much that they're wore out. Third quarter, the body language looks different. Do you think that was a big part of it? Was just the offense was always had them on the field?
Yeah, I was looking at that too. That's like, man, sometimes the offense, what are we doing? Three downs and out. We just came out the field, and then all of a sudden you got to go back out there after 4 plays. That's a lot, okay? Especially now with situational defenses you're looking at, bringing in nickelbacks or whatever. You want these guys to be fresh. You want fresh dogs out there to be going after it full throttle all the time. So it does play a little bit as to how the offense is doing. Okay, are we converting first downs? That's what the game to me is all about. Are they converting first downs? It's not going to be how long this play is, because if you stop a team in the red zone, they didn't score, they didn't get a field goal. Okay, it's how long are they able to sustain a drive going down the field? How many are we burning timeouts? Are we getting players on the field for substitutions? Are we getting the right personnel out there? How are they holding up? You go 12 plays, 10 plays in a row as a defensive lineman, and they're going quick huddle. Whew, that's a long day. So I'm looking at trying to get us as an offense. It kind of works in both ways, to get the offense to get a sustainable drive, at least to give that defense a rest, and then you'll see a different defense out there.
Well, to kind of go off of that too, then how much of a disadvantage does it put you guys on the defensive side of the ball if your offense can't score points and you guys are playing from behind? Because then the other team's just kind of doing whatever they want, and then they kind of go more to that run game to kind of kill the clock. So that's more physicality against you guys over and over.
Sure,
yeah.
Sure. And as a defense, and be honest with you, as a defense, as an NFL player, okay, whatever it is, whatever the situation is, whenever you're on the field, you're not on the sideline going, oh, they can't score. Oh, we're on the field again. It's like now, you're like a SEAL Team 6, whatever it takes.
Yep.
Okay, we're in. Okay, they got a pick. We came off the field. They got an interception. We're back on the field. Okay, we're not going to go we're tired. We're not going to do we're not going to use any excuses of we just got off the field. You know, if a guy comes in a huddle on defense and goes, oh man, I'm so tired. We just got off the field. Get out of here.
Right.
We don't need you on the field.
I love that.
We need guys who are going to be fully committed every single play, no matter what the situation is. We're defense. That's what we do. So when we get out there, we got to do what we do. And as things turn out, that's the part of the game. That's just what it is. They're not going to take any plays off. The offense, whoever we're playing, they're going to come at us with full throttle, and we got to match it, at least match it and try to beat it. And so when we get out there, your mentality, and you build that up in camp, you build that up in the off season, that you're going to go in there no matter what it takes, no matter what the weather is, no matter what's going on, no matter what is happening, no matter what your injuries are, how much pain, you can overcome it, and you can get the results you want.
I love the intensity right here. I feel like you could probably still go out there. It feels like you're getting ready for game
no.
day.
I look forward to seeing you at training camp, hyping him up out there, man. I need this.
Hey, real quick, so we did on YouTube here, DeAndre Black wanted to, I know we mentioned him a little bit ago, but he wants us to ask you about just your opinion on Winston Reed, the UDFA from last season.
When people come into the league, I'm always like, they may have spurts of greatness, of spurts like, okay, I see why they took him. Okay, now can he be consistent? Can he do some things? And I think so. I've seen, at least for me, in my opinion, and it's all opinion, it's all, subjective opinions. But you just want him to, number one, as a player, you want injuries to not be a big factor. Everybody's going to be hurt. Everybody's going to have an ache and pain here. You're not going to be as fresh as you were during this offseason. So here we have a guy who's come in and showed some of those spurts and showed that he can play, but can he do it consistently? Because in the NFL, that's what it's all about. It's just a matter of being consistent. Oh, yeah, he can do it. Is he going to do it this play? Is he going to do it that play? We need you to do it every single play. Or at least have that you're winning 90% or 80% of the plays, okay? But as a defensive coordinator and players, we're expecting you to make the play every single time. Every single time you're in the huddle. We're one of the guys. So I think he'll do that now. I want the leadership stuff to come out too, because we want that to be a big part of your game too. As a player on the team, yeah, you have ability. Yeah, you make some plays, but we need you to be a leader on this team to take it to another level.
Actually, so there's one other guy. Sorry, I wanted to ask you about because he's listed as edge rusher or outside linebackers. The Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who they signed this offseason. And I feel like I want your opinion because I feel like not a lot of people are talking about him and what he could potentially add to that defensive front. But let me hear your opinion on him.
The big thing now that you see in the league is that edge rusher.
Yeah.
Okay, that guy who can be out there and every team tries to acquire him. You get edge guy. Okay, but if you can do duality where you can be an edge rusher or be a down guy, great. Yep. So you have the dexterity, you have the flexibility to be able to do that. Now it's a matter of it gives the defense a chance to think and come up with other schemes. Okay, can you do it just from the right or can you do it from the left? Can you do it from both sides? Now the offense doesn't know where you're at. They have to account for you. And if you're effective, they will have to account for you. Yeah. Okay, that's what T.J. Watt does in Pittsburgh. You got to know where he is on the field. So you get one of those guys. Okay, Myles Garrett, where is he? Is he on the field? Is he on the field? He's one of the 11 guys on that field. He's playing back there in the secondary for a reason or whatever. So if he can be one of those guys that comes in and gets a niche where he's in there on third and long, third downs, or whatever, he starts making that offensive tackle a little jittery because I'm on your side, here I come, and he can get that. And I think he can because it seems like his athletic ability, his dexterity and his size accounts for it. He's did it in college, so now it's a matter of can you do it at this level? Okay, I'm not looking at what you did against other teams in the conferences you were in college. Now I'm looking at you're doing it consistently against other guys who are really good too. This tackle is good. this halfback is good. This quarterback is going to see you. He's going to check something out. He's going to give rid of the ball quicker. The tackle is going to be waiting for you. He's going to be back there before you know it. He's not a slouch. You're not going to go against any slouch players. So we'll see what happens with that, but I'd like to see him just take it and make it his own.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I guess for this year, the 2025 year, what are your honest expectations? You know, now that the draft's over, free agency, we're heading towards camp, so it's still kind of up in the air, but do you think that we can be a team like 2023, or is it going to be kind of maybe not so much so?
Well, I touched on the offense giving the defense playing together with that. I like to see big plays on some special teams and all, but you don't really count that in. But if we can get a good returner, we can get some good kicks. You know, the kicking game has all been nullified because of the rules and everything else with that. Okay, but I think the Browns are like a hidden secret right now. Everybody knows who the quarterback is with Cincinnati, Baltimore. Okay, the Steelers are going through their thing. Okay, but I think the Browns have some pretty good quarterback prospects. Out of any year that they've had before, they got some people in there now. Okay, who all have a sort of they're wearing it on their sleeve. They want to do better. They want to have something. Okay, they want to get it off their chest. You know, they all have their own little soap opera drama that they came in with. With that said, I like to see the offense really be up there in scoring and getting higher numbers, not just in points. I mean on passes per game, yardage per game, ground. You know, that they're putting together a game. Not that 2.1 per rush. You get up there 4 point something per rush. You know, we're getting 13, 15 per catch. Okay, after the catch, we got some people in there that are doing some threats. This puts a defense on their heels when you got threats. Okay, offensive line is giving that quarterback, whoever will be, enough time. The quarterback is able to get his read and going through his progression. Okay, and I'm saying a lot on the offense because I want to see that as effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's GFR offensive line can gel enough, okay, to play enough. Yeah, you might have some sacks, but not just 2 in a row, 3 in a row, and out. No, we can't have that. We can't have certain things happen this season. So I'm optimistic.
Good. Okay.
I like to see the quarterback. I was happy when they got Pickett, who's still in the conference going against Steelers.
Right.
He's got an edge. Okay, he's got a chip on his shoulder. Shedeur Sanders, chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all of them come in with a chip on his shoulder. Okay, Flacco, you come in, a chip on your shoulder. Come in, be hungry. Don't be satisfied with anything. So if you can come in with that and show the league or show the AFC North that you're coming in here as the Browns, we're not the same Browns we were last year. We're not. And we're going to show you that on the field, on defense and on offense and special teams.
Because there was just such a disappointment last year coming off of that 2023 season whenever, I mean, like half the team was injured. I mean, we had no business competing with anybody, let alone making the playoffs after we lost so many guys, and yet we did.
It was bad.
Stefanski rallied the troops. Everybody was playing together cohesively.
Yes.
And it was just so much fun to watch. And then last year it was like, what are we watching now?
Well, I was watching. That's how I was when I was watching in 2023 the playoff game against Houston. Who are these guys?
Right.
I'm seeing the defense all the way up to this point, and I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Letting them run around, the receivers catching balls, not tackling them. It was just disappointment from that game on. But I'm hoping that, and I know it's every season, but I'm hoping that we can not relate back to 2023, but to have a whole new identity than we did in 24.
Yeah.
That's all. Just have a whole new identity. And I think Stefanski has talked about that. I think he wants that. I think the players want that. You got a nice mix of veterans and some young guys that are coming in, but they got to start from day one. And that means training camp.
Yep, set the tone.
That set the tone.
Well, as far as that identity goes then, I mean, we really haven't seen the Browns have an identity since, Nick Chubb's last full healthy season, which was, 2022. And we had Chubb, we had Kareem Hunt. It was we're going to run it down your throat. We're going to beat you up front and all that kind of stuff, play good defense, and it was a lot of fun. And then obviously week 2 of 2023, Chubb goes down and he's out. Jerome Ford just is not the type of running back to handle a lead back role. It's just not his game, and that's okay. But we were just playing guys out of position after that. So do you think they can get back to that identity with the guys they drafted, with Quinshawn Judkins, with Dylan Sampson, these guys?
Yeah, you got to love Judkins. You got to love what he brings. I love those additions where you're getting some skilled guys that have shown some things in college and promise. I know that's part of just the draft, but I think that a lot of teams will draft people and just have them on the bench or what have you. We need you right now. We want you to be productive right now and come in here, not to get just your own little accolades or whatever. We need you right now because we have some needs as a team.
Yep.
Okay? Run the run game. Run game is only going to be effective as the offensive line. Okay? Run game is only going to be effective as they'll put people in the box then, but then it's going to be your pass game. Okay, the run game is going to be effective of who the halfbacks we have back there. Can they get the extra yards? And if Judkins can show that he can do that early on, that he's playing like a kid on fire, a rookie on fire, I just think I don't know, maybe I'm having high hopes for it, but I think that's what he can do.
I think people have kind of agreed with, I think that them drafting the 2 rookie running backs is huge as far as just the pace of what we want to do as an offense. If we can actually, because I don't know how you feel. Last year I felt like we kind of just abandoned the run because we just kind of couldn't, it kind of just felt like that. So them not only addressing the position, but then going and getting a second young, hungry stud dude at that position. I'm excited about it. You mentioned, the 4 quarterbacks, and they're all hungry. They all have a chip. They all have something to earn, show. There's, we have an extra first next year. Do you think that any of these guys that are battling right now can be the franchise guy moving forward?
Pickett has matured.
Sure.
Being in Philadelphia, he's matured a little bit. I say mature just as a person.
Yes.
Okay. And so what is your approach now that you're in the league? Do you want to be that person and all this other ego stuff or whatever we might think it might be has to be let go? So Shedeur, same thing. You're playing professional football and you got to see that player that wants to take that position. I know everybody wants to start, but you got to show you command that you have separated yourself to be in that position, okay? The battle is going to be on in training camp on every single day. You got to come out and learn and get it and get your progression, and the coach has got to feel comfortable with you. So that means when you're not on the practice field, you got to be into it, okay? You got to be into being a Browns player, Brown leader. I'm going to be the leader on the team and being there. So the off season with some of the things that have happened up to this point with Spear or whatever, you can't do those kind of things because the players will be like, what are you doing? Right. I get it, but everybody can get tickets or whatever and go speed them, but not this kind of stuff, not the stuff where you're going that fast in that car. Hey, we were all young at one time. We all did things. But when you're trying to get a spot to be the Browns quarterback, which if you get to be a Browns quarterback now as these young guys, you'll be there for a long time, and this city will embrace you.
Absolutely.
And that's what the city has embraced you. That's what I see as a former Browns. After you played, the city has embraced you just being a Browns player. If you take the Browns and help the Browns get somewhere that they haven't been to in a long time, the NFL has never seen a city go as crazy as the Browns will get.
Oh, it would be insane.
I guarantee they will not see a parade. They will not see the meeting the players after the game. They will not see the world's Browns people who are in the caves now that have come out from everywhere.
Yep.
And so that's kind of what the optimistic part of my mindset is, to see the Browns get to that level.
I always say it's like a rabid fan base.
Oh,
they're extremely, extremely loyal, and
Love
like
it.
you said, they will love you.
Love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
but it's one of
Love
those
it.
things where
Yeah,
it's been through a lot. It's just
they've been through a lot. I was there with the John Elway drive. I was there with the Ernest Biner fumble the year after. And I've seen some good things. I've seen the quarterback revolving door happen and all that. So now, okay, the revolving door doesn't have to happen anymore for a while. Okay, so now you got quarterbacks. Now it's just choosing the right one that can do some things. And so the franchise quarterback is amongst those four. I don't know who it's going to be. Right. I don't know who I even want it to be. But whoever it's going to be, better just take it, and when they get it, live up to what the Browns' expectations are, and set some other ones. You know, why not?
Yeah.
I think that is I like you brought up the tickets with Shedeur. I mean, is it the end of the world that he was speeding? No, absolutely not. But you're right. I mean, if you were the backup, left guard, maybe you're going to make the practice squad. It's no one's even going to know about it. But you're fighting to potentially be not just the start. You're going to be the face of the franchise. That's if you become the starting quarterback, the leader of the whole team. You got to have a little more self-awareness about what you're doing, and those kind of things are going to get blown up in the media. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, it's what everybody's talking about, and everybody's got opinions ranging from who cares to cut him. And it's wild, but it just comes with the territory of being a potential franchise quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, and look, you're a young guy, okay? You're right where you want to be, doing what you want to do, getting the money you want to get, and more. You come from that, okay? But can you balance it? Can you just contain it? Can you manage it? You're here to try to win a spot to be the quarterback of an NFL team. There's only so many of those in the world. You're trying to be one of those. Okay, to be one of those takes consistent mindset. Okay, this organization, they're not playing around. Right. If you want to be that person, you got to show that you're not playing around. You got to show that this is what you want to do. They're going that fast a couple times. That's not a mistake. You made a decision to do that. That's not like, I guess I was just going over the speed limit. No, you weren't just going over it. You were going faster than you needed to go, and they held you accountable to that. So whatever you got to do to make amends with that is to pour yourself back into the Browns and don't do that again, because that's 2 strikes right there, and you're going to lose some of your fellow players, as you spoke of, and you're going to lose some credibility with the fans. The fans want you to succeed. Whatever way you got here, and that's what I said when you got drafted, whatever way you get here, you're with the Browns now. Now it's up to you to just live up to whatever you think you can do, okay? So forget about whatever the NFL or whatever people think, or the conspiracy theory and all the other stuff. You're here. You're with a team in camp. Okay, let's see how you practice. Let's see how you work. That's the only thing that a coach or even your fellow players will see, how you work. They will embrace you in how you work. After that, it's going to be the things that happen off the field. Yeah.
Well, we'll get you out of here quick so you can go bowl with everybody else. But before you do, is there like one story from your playing days that is kind of the most fond in your memory that you just want to share with everybody?
Well, sometimes people think that you played in the NFL for 7 years, Anthony Griggs. You played with Philadelphia, you played with Cleveland for 3 years. Boy, you must have been No, I wasn't. It must have been something in college. You were incredible in college, or you were All-American. No. I went to Villanova out of Ohio when I was in New Jersey, went to high school there, but I went to New Jersey and I went to Villanova because that was a close school, hour away. And then they dropped the football program going in my senior year. So I didn't have no football, and I was okay. I wasn't trying to get to the NFL. Howie Long was a year ahead of me out of Villanova. So I went to Ohio State. That was the school that came and got these other players. There's 4 of us that went. I was the only senior. So I went to Ohio State. I wasn't starting. So after that, season was over. I was walking across campus, and the season was over. I was out of football. It was already done. I was a regular student. And so one of my guys that had played football, I was on the team, he goes, hey, they're having a pro day over there. I didn't even know what a pro day was. He said, you go over there, and you're a senior. You can go over there, and you can run and see if the NFL would take you based on your time. I was like, oh, maybe. Okay, I go over there. And I see the first coach, and the first coach goes, hey, Anthony, haven't seen you in a long time. What have you been doing since the season's over? Oh, I'm just walking around. And he goes, what are you doing over here? I said, I just come over because this is like pro day, someone told me, and I have seniors come over and run. He goes, oh, yeah, you can, but it's invitation only. It's only for the NFL. They tell us who they want to have run, and we get them over here. And he said, well, you can watch if you want to watch. I said, okay, I'll watch or whatever. So I'm watching a little bit and waiting for them to get started. And the second coach comes over to the first coach and said, hey, we're about to get started. and he sees me, and he goes, "Oh, Anthony, hey, what are you doing here?" Da 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 da. And the first coach goes, "Oh, he came over here because he thought he can run, but I had to tell him that it was just for our guys they invited." Da da da. And he goes, "Well, if you want to run, you can run. If you're here, you might as well run." I said, "Nah, I'm good. I don't want to run. I'm football. I got class in about 2 hours. I'm okay. I'm going to sit here and watch." He goes, "No, you're here." They're walking away, and he goes, "You sure?" I said, "Okay, I'll run." I run a 40, do some drills, and then the scouts are coming up to me, and they're like, a couple of scouts, "Hey, you're Anthony Griggs. Where'd you come from?" "I came from Villanova. I was a transfer here." "Okay, I'd like to get in touch with you. You have an agent?" I was like, "Agent? I have 2 hours before class. I just came over here just to do some stuff." So, okay, fast forwarded now, it's draft day. And I was the only senior living in a dorm. Over there, everybody had a car. Everybody living in condos and houses. I was the only guy living in a dorm, didn't have a car. I was okay. I lived with a roommate of mine who was an entomologist major, studied bugs and everything. And so I come back in class, and he goes, "Hey, Dick Vermeil, or Dick Vermeil, I can't think of his name." He called, said he's going to call back. I said, "Dick Vermeil." He calls me back, "Anthony, we're thinking of taking you in the 4th round of the Philadelphia Eagles." I'm like, I'm thinking it's a joke because I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure, okay, whatever, do it." Joke. So he called me back, goes, "Anthony, how's it feel to be a Philadelphia Eagle? We'll be taking you in the 4th round." "Okay, great. My secretary's going to call you to get the arrangements for you to fly out here." So I end up taking a call from her, and I'm thinking it's still a joke until she goes, "Okay, we're going to give you the confirmation number." I'm like, "Hey, whoa, confirmation number? What? For what?" She goes, "Oh, well, we got to get a confirmation so you go to the airport and then give them that." I said, "Oh, is this real?" She goes, "Yeah." So I end up flying in. I call my mom. "Hey, I'm coming home." She thought I got kicked out of school, blah, 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 blah. So I go to the Eagles, and I'm sitting there with the 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round. Here I am. And then 5th round, 6th round. It was 12 rounds back then.
That's
and so
right.
they're all looking at me and they're going, "Hey, Anthony, the players like, hey, were you 3rd team All-American? Because we don't recognize your name." "No, I wasn't 3rd team." I was just sitting there collecting hats. Nobody wanted the bag of gifts. I was like, good. I was like Cinderella story.
Awesome.
Eating. So that was my story. And so I said, "No, I wasn't." They said, "Were you all Big Ten?" "No, I only played like the last 2 games of the season because the guy got hurt." So I went over to the field house and ran a 40, and that's how they did it. Bang, bang, bang.
Wow.
So that was it. And that was my story. 7 years. Here I am sitting here talking on the podcast.
That's
So.
incredible.
Man, it was a good thing you decided to run and do drills that day, man. No
Yeah.
kidding.
Hey, so you never know. You never know how things end up. I enjoy it. It was a great time. It was a great time. Cleveland fans are phenomenal.
Yes.
You know, don't think that you're not appreciated. I can say this. Back when you play as a player, you don't really appreciate. You do, but just on a level of just appreciating them. I got my thing to do. I'm a Brown. I'm trying to win. But when you come out and you see that they've been Browns players, Browns fans, and they know the players, and their lives are invested in, it's like, wow. Wow. And I tell them, I love them. Mm-hmm. I love you guys. I love Browns fans because I've worked at the Steelers for 13 years for a while.
Yeah.
And I've been in Philadelphia. And the Browns fans, they're like simmering. They're simmering right now, waiting for this thing to boil up again and take them to the next level. And that's where they were in 2023. So this could be the year of everything just hitting the head. And I think it will.
I love that.
That is great. Well, hey, Anthony, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us and everybody out there who's watching right now. We appreciate it. As Browns fans, obviously, it's wonderful to talk to you guys. So
it's great.
You're great, man.
Thank
you. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it.
Good luck. Are you going to bowl?
I'm going to throw a bowl down this lane here.
Yeah?
It's going to look like bowling because they got 10 pins, but I don't know if I caught that.
Did you get the ball?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, the Browns backers and whoever, they got you guys each your own personal bowling ball. Did you get the holes drilled?
Drills,
Yeah,
man.
so they drill out the holes back here for these guys, so it fits your fingers perfully and everything. Like, it's insane.
I gotta get my mind right. I'm a linebacker. I get my mind right. I try to win. I got to throw it underhand. I don't know about that, but it's gonna work.
All right,
I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so
Anytime
much.
you need me, just let me know.
Will do.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Awesome.
Guys, we'll be right back with you guys here in just a minute. All right, guys, we are back, and we've got Greg Pruitt back with us, who was on the show. Oh, gee, when was that? That was during the season before the Saints game, I think it was. Yeah. We were pretty hyped for the team that week. Thought, hey, we can go out here and maybe get a win. Jameis is starting, and then we went down to New Orleans and got boat raced out of there pretty quickly. So,
well,
no big deal. It's all good.
A better season than they had last year.
Oh, man, you're not kidding.
A couple things they were unlucky in terms of keeping people healthy. You're only as good as the 11 people you put out there.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, if you can't do that, then all of a sudden somebody in the 11 is not as good as the 11 you're playing, and it reflects on the scoreboard. So you got to get lucky, or whatever you want to call it. You got to stay healthy.
Absolutely. So let's talk running backs.
All right.
And just give us your overall view, a perspective of the room this year with the additions. They drafted Judkins in the second, Sampson in the fourth. They're trying to get back to that identity under Kevin Stefanski with this offensive line running the ball. How do you think it's going to go?
Well, I'll say it by telling a story. When I first came in, I was a high draft pick, and Leroy Kelly was here. And when I got to camp, I was a big Muhammad Ali fan, so I did a lot of talking. And so when I saw Leroy about, I guess in the program he's 6 feet, 6'1" or whatever, but to me he looked like he was maybe 5'11". But so I'm eyeballing him myself and sizing him up. And I'm saying, oh, well, he ain't as fast. He's a couple pounds bigger than I am, but that means that maybe 4 or 5 weeks I have his job. That's me talking to myself. So we get into practice, and all of a sudden it's easier to say than to do. I couldn't say why I wasn't having any progress running behind the same line and the same plays that he's running, and he's having all this success. So that meant shut up, pay attention, and learn something. And so I said all that to say this: my only disappointment, and it can happen regardless of that, is there's no veteran at the position now since Chubb is gone to teach you the game. And people, as they describe the game, I said it's kind of like when you get to the top level, it's kind of like trying to cross the freeway.
Yes, sir.
Everything is moving fast. And as you go along with somebody telling you, don't do this, do that, the game starts to slow down. And then you begin to be more successful at the position. And hopefully that'll happen with them.
Absolutely. You kind of touched on it. I wanted to bring up Nick, but probably the most beloved player, since the Browns came back in '99. Do you think it was time, for the Browns to part ways, or do you think that maybe the Browns should have been more active in bringing him back?
Yeah, I think that the kind of player he was, and the kind of player he was on and off the field with that football team, it ain't just what you bring or what you give on the field. It's also leading people and teaching them how to prepare. I learned how to prepare by watching Leroy and shutting up. And so I'm a believer that the veterans teach the game to the younger guy, and I think they're going to miss him in that sense. But I've always been a Nick Chubb fan.
Oh, me too.
And I tore my knee up in '79, and some of the rehab things, physical therapy that they make you go through is you do squats and you do all that to test how strong your knee is. And so when I saw him squat like 600 pounds, I remember, I couldn't do, like drop 3 of them zeros. I was having a problem doing it that way. So he is a freak of nature.
Absolutely.
And I think we have not heard the last of Nick.
I don't think so either.
No.
I mean, some of those workout videos from the offseason, he was jumping. His head was damn near hitting the ceiling and stuff. It's like, oh, boy, I don't know. He's got some explosion back in that knee. But.
Yeah, I'll always be a Browns fan, but he is he is the kind of guy that I hope for his success down the road.
Right.
But I guess for this year, for the 2025, we're coming off a tough year. You were saying maybe some things can change. They had a lot of, injuries and stuff like that. Do you think the Browns can get back to winning ways in 2025?
Hopefully they will.
Okay.
I mean, they're young, like I say, at that position at running back. And the plus on the offensive side is you got a veteran leading it. He can audible to plays based on defenses that give you a better chance at being successful. A quarterback can audible to a play, not just in passing to be successful, but he can also audible to a play to be successful running the football. So that's a huge plus with Flacco in the game, and these guys. And I saw where Sanders said that he was going to sit back and try to learn, and that's a good thing on his part. But having said that, the next subject that come up, I want to get this clear with people. I'm telling on myself. I might have a warrant out for my arrest. But I have a 911 Porsche.
Okay.
I still got it.
Yeah.
And they just go fast on their own. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna be Sanders' lawyer and say his car went fast on its own.
That's fair. What year is that? 911?
79.
What color?
Red.
Nice.
Red.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, we were just talking with Anthony about, the speeding tickets and everything, and how, whether you think it's fair or not, like you're.
Well, I understand what you finna say. But you have to be responsible. And if you play that position, you got to play that position. You got to lead by example. And so some things you're blessed to be in that position, and sometimes you gotta remember that you're blessed to be in that position. And so don't blow it. You can't. Like I can't go out and buy a $500,000 house. Some people can. And so you have to understand, some people can do some things, some people can't. So those cars are pretty fast, but he's lucky that now it can be a lesson.
Right.
Yes.
And so, because success is learning from your mistakes and not repeating.
Right.
And so, and as far as that go, I hope that's the last time we even have to talk about that.
Right.
Oh, I hope so too, because it just, it just goes through the media so much more heavily when you are not only a quarterback for a team, but when you are. Shedeur Sanders has such a. He's such a celebrity.
Some kind of way, I've heard on news and people talk about it. Some kind of way, if he plays a position that has to make decisions, and so if this is one of his decisions, so we're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, the best one I saw was it said a couple months ago he was going 144 when he should have been going 25. So I thought that was kind of funny too.
Scandalous.
That was kind of a low blow there. But all right, so do you want to? That's what I want to talk about, the offensive line with you and the scheme. So they're coming back to this, this wide zone, outside zone, right? Wide zone with Kevin Stefanski or whatever with this offensive line in the run game. Mm-hmm. Do you think we're going to see the offensive line be back to what it was, prior? 2023 even, we can't really talk about the offensive line right now because most of them were hurt. Last year was bad. And
how the offensive line is healthy-wise is how this team will go.
Yeah.
Everything is based on time. You got to get the ball out in certain plays. The receiver got to get the ball. He has to have time to run a pattern. You got to have time to get deep. All of those things is based on the offensive line. And just like we observing the offensive line, the people we're going to play is observing the offensive line.
Right.
And they're going to test a guy coming back from an injury, or they're going to test what he was struggling at last year to see if he fixed it. And it's that simple. Can you fix all the things that you wasn't good at last year? And if you can, you should have a pretty good season. And if not, you're not.
Okay.
Well, how's the how you doing out here on the lanes? I think everybody out there wants to know.
I thought we was talking about football.
That good, huh? That good.
Classic.
We went over and asked if anybody wanted to get on, and he's like, well, I'm bowling, but I'll come talk. It's okay. I'm not a very good bowler either, man. That is not my game.
It's been a while. I used to be a pretty good bowler.
Yeah.
But my whole life, I do stuff different from everybody else. Like when I throw a bowling ball, if you don't see me release the ball, you think I threw it with my left hand. I go left to right. I cannot make the ball spin that way.
Oh, really? Okay.
I spin it the other way.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm good, brother. Yeah. Yeah.
So is there anything about like your playing days that you wanted to talk about? Because we're live right now. We're live streaming. So there's people in the audience that are, I got people saying in here like, hey, love Pruitt. Pruitt was my favorite player back in the day. Pruitt, LFG. Like, these guys want to hear from you, man.
Well, I one of the things I do remember are the fans.
Okay.
And I tell people all the time that football was a job. It's just like everyday people on Monday you go to work. Well, for us, every Sunday we go to work. And just like people, every Monday, I don't feel like going to work. Sometimes on Sunday, you don't feel like, you just ain't feeling it. So you know the process. You do the same things, and hopefully when you get to the last part of the process, you have put yourself in a position to perform at a level that you need to run at. But one of the things I appreciated about the fans is something that I always depended on for the fans, and they never let me down, is that I would go through pregame, I'd go through my book, go get my ankles and my wrists and all that tape, say a prayer, and when I walked out and the fans saw me, you'd have to be dead not to want to play. And I appreciate that for the fans, because it was almost like a contest was won. If they could win the contest, they get to play, and if they could play, they would. I did get to play, so I expected that from them, and I always got that. People say one of the things a running back want to accomplish is 1,000 yards. So I always wanted to get 1,000 yards because it make me a little different from everybody, because everybody don't get 1,000 yards. Right. But I also wanted to see how the fans would react to me getting 1,000 yards. They did not disappoint me.
No.
In fact, it was so exciting. It was against Kansas City, I believe. It was against the Kansas City Chiefs. And going into the season, I was getting close. I needed a little over 200 yards. But the difficult part was I wanted to get it at home, and I only had one game left. So I had 3 games to get 100 yards. I was pretty confident that I was going to get 1,000 yards. But I got 214 against Kansas City. And I'm telling you, man, the crowd lit me up so bad. I had them. I should have went back and got 250 or 240. I was just so in the wow, I can't believe it. Thank you, fans.
Yeah, we say it all the time. I mean, this fan base it's the best.
And nobody's more deserving. I think sometimes we're too dedicated as fans. We'll accept anything. We play bad, we forgive you. Come on back and try again.
Yep. We got short memory.
We got
short memory. Last year's a perfect example. I mean, it was about as bad a season as you could possibly have. And then the fans are right back in, baby. We're bought in. We're ready to go. We're pumped. Look at like this event. I mean, people come out from everywhere for something Browns related.
Right.
It's so cool, man. And we're excited to have you be a part of it.
Oh, man, I'm glad. My experience as an athlete, this is the top. So, even though I went to the Raiders and won a world championship, one of my goals that I accomplished, the Browns still, in terms of fan and support, you can't beat them. I remember playing in games where the fans got so rowdy that they switched ends. The dog pound had a reputation. And I'm telling you, they think a dog pound bad now. They should have been back 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, if you kick a ball, they got to take the ball and they take it right on up the stand and it'd be gone. I mean, they was trip. and the refs knew it. They would warn them. They would threaten them. They get on the mic. Even the coach would say, calm down. Remember the guy made the comment for Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Right.
I know exactly what you're talking
to the Cleveland fans. I said, ain't that something? But I want to say we were playing the Houston Oilers, and it was just something happened, and the fans did not like it. And they let it be known they didn't like it by throwing balls and everything on the field. And so the referees, they tried to threaten them. That didn't work, so they just went to the other end of the field and said, let them do
play on the other
side.
Do. Wow. Oh my gosh, that's good.
That is crazy. Real quick, we'll get you out of here pretty soon so you can get back to bowling. I know you're itching to throw some.
I'm through.
So you were talking about 1,000 yards for running back. Do you think Do you think Judkins can be a 1,000-yard rusher here as a rookie?
Yeah, to be honest with you, 1,000 yards is, to me, not a big deal because now we got 17 games.
True.
So when you take that and divide it per game.
How many games was it when you guys were playing?
I started out 14.
14?
14, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. How do you feel, man? I feel like a lot of these running backs right now, they don't play all 17 games because I think guys get hurt. They miss 2 or 3 games a year. So still getting 1,000 yards, I mean, it's not nothing, but I see what you're saying where, like, back in –
But I've always said the best denominator for determining how well a running back has done based on how many yards he got is average per carry.
Yep.
See, every team has a different situation. There's no way that I can outrush O.J. Simpson when he's getting it 39 times and I'm getting it 10.
Right.
So it ain't how many yards you got, it's what did you do when you got it. And so that's how I determine average per carry.
I think that's what makes Nick Chubb's, what was it, 5.2?
So, yeah.
5.2 career? I mean, geez, out, man. What a – he's going to be missed for sure. But
unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, Greg, thanks for sitting down and talking with us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. All right. So let me get back out here and bowl this 300.
Yeah, bowl this 300. All right, man.
I almost had it.
All right, guys, we're back. That was a little bit longer break than what we had intended, but that's because Dog Bone Enterprises is here today. Took us out back, showed us the boat.
Yes, the boat.
The dog pound boat. That was
Crazy.
awesome. We got our dog bones here.
Yeah.
And kind of crazy. These are actually the dog bones that the Browns use for their turnover chains.
Yep.
These are the turnover chains for the Cleveland Browns. He was showing us all the pictures of what it was, Isaiah McGuire
Yep.
and Zadarius Smith
Juan,
and Thornhill
yep.
and guys wearing the dog pound, the turnover chain. So go check out, what was it, Facebook, he said?
Yeah.
Dog Bone Enterprises.
Dog Bone Enterprises.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys can order yourself a dog, the turnover chain. These things are sweet. He said they're
Very
hand
cool.
painted.
Yeah.
Like, this is insane.
This is new wardrobe for new drip for next year.
Probably
For the
wearing this
2025.
every episode from now on.
There you go.
It'll at least be
Hey.
hanging in the studio.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
like that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So how's everybody doing out there? I'll get my chat pulled back up here. I don't even have it. We ran out there so quick. But again, I guess if you guys are new to the stream here, just joining us, we are live streaming from Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio for the Bowl with Browns Legends event put on here by the Tuscarawas County Browns backers. It's a ton of fun.
Absolutely.
I mean, people here seem to be having a very good time. We sat down a little bit ago with Anthony Griggs, and we just got done talking with Greg Pruitt. And I think we got a couple of the hosts from the Bearded Browns show.
Yes.
Going to join us here in a few minutes. We'll try to get some of these other Browns alumni on here, though they are very entrenched in bowling right now. I love these events because you see these guys and almost like the very youthful side comes back out, and it's the competition is there. And
Absolutely.
they might only be bowling a 96, but they don't care. They just want to beat the other guy going against them.
Yeah. 96 is pretty much like what my score would be.
That's why I threw it out. That's why I threw it out there, because that's me too.
That's like
man.
right about the range I'm sitting in.
All right, I'm just trying to pull up the chat here for everybody so I can talk to you guys. If you guys have questions that you want us to kind of dive into or to talk, once the Bearded Browns get down here and talk with us as well, we can bring up your questions with them and go from there. But yeah, this has been a ton of fun. Reminder, today's live stream is presented by Omaha Steaks. So head over to omahasteaks.com right now. Get everything you guys need for 4th of July cookouts. It's coming quick. I can't believe how close we are to 4th of July. June has just
2
kind
weeks.
of rained itself away.
Yep.
And now we're in the, what are they calling this? The Heat Dome?
Huh. Well, so far.
Yeah, the Northeast or whatever, the Heat Dome that we're in. I think that's what it's being called on the news or whatever. But 4th of July is going to be awesome. We're all going to be cooking out. So get your cookout gear from Omaha Steaks. Right now it's 50% off site-wide. They're doing a 4th sale, and you get $45 extra off your order with promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, when you check out. So great time to take advantage of the sale and get ready for 4th of July. That's omahasteaks.com. All right, well, now I finally got my chat pulled back up. I don't know. It seems like people are just probably arguing in here about Shedeur, and that's fine. We're going to be doing that for months, like we said. It's going to be a Shedeur summer.
Yeah.
Shedeur training camp, and I do think the Browns have, no matter who ends up starting week 1 for the Browns, we have better options than we had last year, no matter what.
I agree with that. Even just on basic level, just completely turn the room on.
Yeah.
We were all in pretty much the same court last year where we went, what we're getting as far as, the room and output just wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough to get more than 3 wins. And I think a lot of it was on the quarterback play.
It was on the quarterback play, the offense being run, the scheme, Ken Dorsey. It was a nightmare. It was the perfect storm of, just everything that could go wrong did.
Yep.
And, I mean, Jameis Winston injected a little bit of life into things whenever he got in there, but that didn't last for very long. We all knew what the story is with Jameis. Everybody knows. I mean, he's going to throw the ball a ton. He's going to put up yards and touchdowns. He's going to turn the ball over.
Yep.
And that's also what we're getting with Joe Flacco. So as much as, we like Joe Flacco, what he did for us in 2023, you guys have to be able to expect that as fans and know that, yes, if Joe Flacco starts week 1 and he starts the first, whatever quarter of the season, we're going to put up yards. We're going to move the ball. We're going to score. We're going to be competitive. It's going to be fun. But there's also going to be a lot of opportunity for turnover.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, yep. So here come the Bearded Browns. They're going to sit down with us. We won't even go to break or anything. We'll just, whatever side, guys. Just go ahead and sit down. Yep, you guys should be good. We got you?
Yeah, we're good.
Hey,
Good. All right,
hey.
we're good.
I got a big head, so.
Hey. Wow. We
All
made
right.
it.
It's great.
We made it.
Yeah, you're the big guy.
Yeah, he's tall.
How tall are you?
6'6".
6. I would say I'm just looking at the camera here. It's like
He's got
there's
no room
me,
for
there's
him.
Justin,
Wow.
there's Angel,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, your name was
Mike.
Mike. Okay, we talk on like Twitter and stuff
Yeah.
back and forth, but then I'm never exactly sure
Who he's
name with
talking
the
to.
face. Yeah,
Right.
so excellent. So good to have you guys join us. What do you guys
Thank
think
you.
so far of the event?
This is fun. My kids are having a blast. They're out bowling me, so
Oh,
that's how it goes.
That's
right?
all right. That's what I said. I was like, my score would have been like 96. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, I got lucky. I got like 90. I don't know how the bumpers help.
Oh,
but-
you got bumpers up too, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
For kids, not
we
for
got
me, for the
questions
kids.
now. We
I
gotta,
bowled 3 times when my watch said stop. That's
oh,
all.
no.
I was sweating.
Well, here, you guys chat for a sec. I got to fix your camera because your head,
You're
like,
tall.
I think I got your beard and that's it. So hang on, give me a sec. You guys keep going.
You're tall, Mike.
Oh, man. So, do you guys want to do just a little brief introduction of your, I know most of our listeners know you guys, but do you want to do a little background?
You start.
So on a quick whim here, I decided that one day I was going to start a Browns podcast before I even knew about you guys. I'm like, I'm going to just do it. So I went online, I bought this equipment. I started doing it by myself on my own personal Facebook, and everybody's like, don't quit your day job. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. But then I met Angel. Angel was doing like a bunch of Browns reels on Facebook, like his family, his wife and kids making fun of him for doing it. And I was like, man, this seems pretty cool. I'm going to talk to this guy and see if he wants to come on and do a show with me for fun and see what happens. Well, we wound up working out. We did a pretty good show. We had fun. Then it just progressed and got better and better.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you want to come back and do another one? And then it's like, hey, let's just make this a thing. And we've got 2.5 years now that we've been running consistently.
That's great.
At least every Tuesday.
Man, that's a huge accomplishment. It's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. Same story. We just started in COVID and just kind of.
Yeah. It's tough, like coordinating schedules and stuff whenever, you got lives, you got jobs, you got families and everything, and then you're trying to do a podcast for the Browns, and it's tough. It really is. But, I mean, it definitely takes some serious dedication.
Yeah, it takes effort. It's got to be purposeful, especially when news drops. You're like, hey, babe, I know you're cooking eggs, but let me drop.
Yeah.
I got to make this template real quick. I gotta drop
My
some
wife's
news.
real good about it. Every time I'm on my phone, and the kid's trying to talk to me, she's like, hang on, he's working.
Yeah.
And like, she knows. She's like, okay, I am, but, I try to pay attention as much as possible.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny.
sure,
we start this thing as like a hobby, right?
Yeah,
We all
right,
think
exactly.
It's like, oh, this is going to be easy. We can just talk about the Browns once or twice a week. No.
No.
So it's actually a full-time job.
consumes
in a way.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
it does.
And the thing is, like, you want it aesthetically to look good too. So you
Yeah.
just don't want it to be like, I'm just gonna post something corny, right? 'Cause now you're like, you went from that to like, following you guys for years. I'm like, I kind of want to look aesthetically pleasing, not just like copy paste, right? So now you're teaching yourself. So you're in the lab, like, and your wife's knocking on the door. Hey, you coming out there after a couple days? It's like, I'm trying to teach myself this stuff. But yeah, the last 2 years have been great. We're learning on the fly. Mike's been great with the tech stuff too. So
I wouldn't go that far.
Man,
I've
you've
been
been
winging
great.
it since 2023.
You've been doing a good job, man. Hey.
He's doing good.
Hey.
Well, speaking since 2023, so the 2 seasons that you guys have covered so far, has it been the 2023 and 2024? Did you guys start
It was the
year
middle
before
of like
that?
2022.
Okay.
In the middle of that year.
All right, so that year was a throwaway. I mean,
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson was suspended half the year. It didn't really matter. We knew nothing was going to happen that year and all that crap. But then 2023 was, hey, this team somehow makes the playoffs.
Yes.
Against all odds, everybody's hurt. And then last year was, we were just talking with Greg Pruitt, about as bad a season as you could possibly get.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' expectations for this season now in 24 or 25?
This season, I'm hoping the defense kind of carries us a little bit, at least for the first 5-6 games until we figure out the quarterback situation. That's a gamble in itself. You have so many different opinions as far as who you talk to, who they think you should start. But I don't expect a lot. I think 5-6 wins max.
No,
You kind of sound like Blake. I
Yeah,
think Blake's
so-
he's probably the lowest expectation of the 3 of us, don't you think?
I consider
How low
myself
are you?
an optimist, and I am.
That's why
I'm pretty
Blake's not
low.
here. I don't care.
I'm pretty low. I just, and it's early. Like, we're talking about this stuff in May and June.
Yeah.
Like, a lot can happen. But like, I looked at the schedule. I was like, man, I don't know. 3 wins, 4. So like, I've learned that whenever I think that they're going to be really good, they're not going to be, and when I think they're going to be awful, they absolutely shock me and they take me on the time of my life. So I've just kind of learned to embrace and just sit back and let it play out. But how about you, man?
I think the offensive line is going to have a huge opportunity this year to show what they didn't last year, which is going to be amazing. We had Greg Pruitt on 2 weeks ago, and I asked him, is your offensive line important as a running back? He said, absolutely. I'm like, that's got to be the guys that hold your quarterback from getting sacked. It creates holes for the running back to get through there, so that's huge. As for quarterback, let's go with whoever is best. Angel wants to punch me for this, I know this, but honestly, we wasted 5 years and $230 million on one guy. Why not go out on one more whim and maybe have to start one of these rookies? Then so be it. If that guy's going to be better at the end of camp, then play him.
I agree with that, man. One of those guys, especially if a rookie steps up and is taking over camp. I mean, that's like perfect scenario as long as they are ready, you know.
I think if one of them shows that they can competently play the position, then you can have that conversation. But so you get mad at him for saying that. What's your opinion on it?
Kenny Pickett.
I feel like we as Cleveland, we go
that's
through.
right. You're the Pickett guy. That's right.
Okay,
Blake should be here. Blake's our Pickett guy.
Every podcast
show
has got a Pickett guy.
Every show.
We call them Picketeers, right?
Yeah.
That's actually good. I should be a Picketeer. I'm joining the club right now.
Get a shirt, right?
I'm going to put a picket fence over your entire show.
No, I feel like as Browns fans or even the organization, we go to these series of events where we feel like we have to start a rookie and we damage them. And then we blame the organization saying, this guy sucks, it's your fault. It's like, no, not they listen to us as fans, but we had the expectation of starting a rookie. So yes, I am on the Kenny Pickett train. The reason why I'm on the Kenny Pickett train is that I don't think he had a good fair shot in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had Matt Canada. Matt Canada stuck. He sucks, right?
Yep.
I'll give you a stat, too. I actually was reading up on this because I'm obsessed with Kenny Pickett. Don't judge me. But they only ran I forgot the offense said. Shoot, it just slipped my mind.
Who was it?
Play action.
Okay.
The play action only 16% of the time, and that's Kenny Pickett's. When they did run, he was 76% throwing.
Okay.
So that's high
huge.
percentage. And when he went away from it dropped to like 30-something, right? 40-something.
Yep.
So I think I'm looking at it from that perspective and only that perspective. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to start Kenny Pickett and he's good in Kevin's system, that's what Kevin specializes in, and you have two good running backs, rookie young running backs, I think that you can make something out of him, even though people tend to go to his hand size only. When you ask them, why don't you like Kenny Pickett? And the only way they say, well, his hand size is like 2 inches. It's can we go into more depth here, like outside his hands? But I think that's what's encouraging. What I see in Kenny, what can work out in the offense.
I agree with you with the Pittsburgh thing. The offense, I got to see Pittsburgh, and him, and the playbook was just about as vanilla could get. And I'm pretty sure the one game that I was at, it was him against DTR, and I was just like, well, we aren't doing anything, nothing flashy out here. This is all going to be, 2-yard slants and, handoff for 1 yard, and that's pretty much what the whole game was. It was a super low game, but yeah, Blake's real big on, well, he was at least.
I think he's kind of cooled on Pickett, and he's definitely not as far in on Pickett as you are now currently. He was at one point.
At one point,
when things first started, he was very much Kenny Pickett over Joe Flacco for sure.
Yeah.
But it just, for Kenny Pickett, I just don't understand. I don't see what the future. He would have to play so well at such a high level to warrant an extension. For the Browns to, bypass the 2 first-round picks next year, to not try to see what they have in the rookies, I mean, he would have to do some work.
And then I'm pretty sure you have to pay him.
You would have to pay him.
You would have to pay him. So that's the other part that's unfortunate for it is like, he could be a great dude for this situation, and then we might end up not having him there anyway because we can't even afford him. The money stuff, like the salary cap stuff, I don't understand how any of that crap. I look at it, I go, hey, we don't have any money, and then literally I wake up the next day, I'm like, geez, we signed $40 million. I wish my bank account worked like how the salary cap, because I know when I pay my bills, it doesn't work the same way, but I just want to see somebody come out of it where we're like, there's some clarity and we look like a real football team. There's some I don't want to go out there and, hey, we're false starting. We can't get lined up. Now we're 3rd and 20 and we're taking sacks. We're still trying to figure out what the hell our identity even is.
Yeah, I do like the fact that the coaching staff seems to be trending away from that. From what I'm hearing, all the OTAs and minicamp, that the structure and the discipline seems to be there as opposed to the past years.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so that's encouraging to hear, especially you got Bloomberg in there. He's an old school guy. He's going to probably yell at those players and not coddle them. So that's very encouraging to hear.
Yeah,
Let me ask you guys a quick question.
Yeah, what's
I
up?
think it was Josh that actually said it. I was watching your guys' show where Flacco, after leaving the Ravens, has only gone 9-19. And 5 of those wins are with the Browns.
Crazy.
Is it a scheme thing, possibly? I mean, what could it be? That
I don't know. When that happened, I felt like you couldn't have had a perfect marriage. You know what I mean? Like, you have this old veteran, but he's great out of play action, got a cannon. And then you have this play action coach that, you know, like, I thought it was just such a beautiful mesh. Like, and it was just perfect for the 4 or 5 games, you know, that we needed him for. I worry about longevity only with him.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing is I'm like, if the line isn't good, I don't know how he holds up. And even if the line does hold up, I think, you know, just the wear and tear. I'm 39. I feel like crap. I can't imagine going
39 too.
Hey,
I feel like crap.
39 club. Hey, old man club.
I'm 42.
Oh, jeez, you guys, man. Wow.
Young man at the
I'm on the
table.
wrong podcast. I should be coming on and hanging out with you guys. Jeez. Wow.
We're the senior podcast.
Yeah. No, that's okay. It's okay. But I just think long term.
Well, if you look at Joe Flacco last year with Shane Steichen in Indianapolis, it wasn't what it was with Kevin Stefanski the year before. I think it's very much scheme because Kevin does what Joe does. I mean, so well, and it did. It worked out.
And
very,
would you
very
think,
nicely.
compared to when he was here that run, you would think you would throw the ball less, right? Because
Sure.
obviously they're going to go to, hopefully, because Philly had a 60-40 run ratio last year. Hopefully you could kind of get into that 50, 55, 45 run ratio where you have the higher run as opposed to pass, and that can limit even the interceptions with Flacco, because you have to worry about that too, right?
Sure.
Like,
Well,
a lot of people forget about he's the one that threw us out of the playoffs.
Oh, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
like
I'm talking about fans, you know, not analysts, like people that try to do a podcast. When you look at the numbers, you know, when you fans are like, Flacco's going to tear it up, I'm like, he might throw you out of the game a couple times.
Yeah.
You also got to think about if the offensive line goes back to what they used to be and they're able to create holes for these new running backs, Quinshawn, I mean, come on.
Dude.
It's going to be insane.
Dude, well, and that's the thing is, I feel like last year we couldn't even keep, you know, defenses on. Like, we were like, yeah, we can't run the ball, you know, and if we do, it's minus a yard or a yard. And so I think they just kind of just knew what we were up to. They knew we were going to have to throw it a ton. We'd be behind.
And we did
Just all the things that worked against us.
we didn't have a running back last year who could make his own yards either. I mean, Nick Chubb made a career out of that too. I mean, obviously we had great blocking for those, you know, 4 years or whatever with Nick Chubb before the injury and everything, but still there were many plays where there's no hole or there's nothing. He's breaking a tackle and then ripping off 10 yards or whatever. Jerome Ford can't do that. He's not that kind of guy, you know. So I think hopefully the hope with like Quinshawn is, you know, as soon as you see the hole, make the cut, get some yards, always be going forward. I hate the 2nd and 10s, the 2nd and 12s, because first down was just a bust.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible
I
last
mean, you
year.
got a nice fresh set of legs coming right out of college. It's going to defense is not going to know what to look forward to. They're used to Jerome Ford and Nick Chubb. I think there's going to be a whole new run game this year that's going to be better than we think.
I think both the guys are dynamic.
That's a good point too about teams not having, you know, any tape on these young guys. They might not have tape on our quarterback either, depending on who it is. So we could be sneaky for at least a little bit if we get some competent quarterback play. We got the new running backs. How do you guys feel about wide receiver? We talked about that a couple hours ago here on the stream. We've been talking about it for weeks. It just feels like a position that could let us
We've been
down.
holding off on that on our podcast. We're like, we kind of want to see how this shapes out, but it's iffy, man. After Judy, it's kind of like Tillman has some upside. You look at Tillman, like, man, it's there, but can he stay healthy?
Yes.
And then you have what ifs, like if Johnson is a good route runner and can catch the ball, because I know his issue in Pittsburgh, he dropped the ball occasionally.
Yeah.
And then you have Thrash. Like, is he going to be? Mike's big on Thrash. Like, is he going to blossom into what he was doing in OTAs and minicamps? I heard nothing, but he was crisp routes and actually growing from last year. So to answer your question, long form, I'm scared. I'm
nervous.
terrified after Judy.
It's fair.
I
Honestly.
am excited to see Jamari Thrash. I'm also excited to see the new tight end come. Man, that's going to be incredible to watch. Yeah, I mean, a kid out of Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Just coming out here and dominating. I think it's a possibility. It's a huge possibility. His weird pigeon toe running that he has, that we talked about it quite a few times. It's funny to watch it, but it throws other players off as well. You don't know what to expect. Is this dude really going to try to juke me, or is he just running at me and just going to try to barrel through me? Like,
And we read an article saying that people saying that he finds his way to get open somehow. He's always open.
It's crazy.
So that's encouraging to see from a rookie. He's still got room to grow. But I often forget about him, believe it or not, when it comes to receiving core. And you have the 2 tight end set, so that might take off pressure off the receivers anyways. But
Yeah, because we were talking earlier, like, Tillman, kind of like everyone puts him in there, that wide receiver 2 spot, but really, if we just go pass catchers, it's pass catcher 1 is Judy, pass catcher 2 is Njoku.
yeah.
So your top 2 are pretty strong, you think, you hope, but, Njoku does struggle with drops from, time to time and misses some games from time to time, so we got to have other guys step up and fill in.
And Njoku will catch the highest contested ball
every time.
Every single time, but drops a pass right at the numbers. Another thing I like about Fanning is the kid can block.
Yeah.
So if you're lining up 2 tight ends, there's so much you could do with that if they do that, one on each side of the field.
Yeah.
Opens up so much more.
Went to high school like about 15 minutes from here. He's
Yeah.
right up the street, Camp McKinley. It's crazy.
It's a cool story. I really hope that he pans out and becomes like a focal point for the offense, not just like a role player or something. I mean, I think the sky's the limit for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that we had him kind of pegged when we did our draft shows. Like, we would love to get him in that round, maybe a round or 2 lower. Actually, he was around that round. And when we got him, it was like, that's perfect fit.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we
Perfect
mocked
fit.
him like, usually it was like that 94 pick at the end of the 3rd, maybe early in the 4th, but I think the Browns just said, screw it, we're not messing around and missing out on this guy. We're going to get him. So 67, they just took him, and I'm glad they did. I was pumped about it.
So am I. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ohio kid, keeping him in Ohio.
Yep.
Yeah, gotta love that. What do you guys think about, like, Kevin, AB? Do you think that this season could go any way and they're safe no matter what? Or, I mean, do you think there's a situation where they're gone?
I'm in love. I love both of them. So I'm going to say, I think they're safe. I think the reason why they're safe is because they really technically don't have a quarterback yet.
Yeah.
And if you go based upon rumors and read whatever you want to read, that the other guy wasn't their guy. So my hope is that Haslam sees that and he'll be like, all right, we're going to give you guys, reset this, give you guys another year or 2 to figure this out, So I'm a Kevin fan. I love Kevin. I know there's some knocks on him about situational play calling sometimes. But I think if you find him a quarterback, and it seems like they're giving him some range, some more power as far as offensively. So let's just see what he does at least the next 2 years, develop this quarterback into what they need him to have, and see where it goes from there. But I think he's safe, both of them.
I believe if they have a 500 or above season average, I think they'll be all right. Honestly,
I don't know about 500.
I was like,
If you get 500, you better give him a Super Bowl trophy at that point, because it might be rough. It depends. It depends. Like, what's encouraging about Flacco is, like, I can see it, but then I often resort back to the playoff game where it's like the defense finally settled in and he threw us out of the game.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know.
The thing I like about Andrew Berry the most is he's not Ray Farmer, so I'm cool with that. that's a highlight.
And I think this is
sure.
Andrew Berry's probably. It can potentially be if they pan out his best draft.
Yeah.
So, and you actually give him a first-round pick finally after you gave him all away. Let's see what he does for the next couple of years with first-round pick, especially with 2 next year.
The thing with Browns fans too is, I think they're very quick to just be like, let's go and see what the next best thing could potentially be, and it's never that. I'm kind of with you. I love Kevin. I just think I worry because the seat's been hot or even up and down for so long that it's like, I think of it. I worry about consistency as far as like ownership looking down and going, hey, I just don't want to see a quick reaction and just a firing. And because you saw Dallas, I think they just plan to go and get a great head coach, and all of a sudden you're going with an offensive coordinator that has never been a coach. I don't really want to see us do that. I've seen us do that before many a times, and it hasn't worked out to this point.
Sometimes back-to-back years.
Yes,
yeah, really.
Another one
so
again.
I'm with you though. I it's nice for the last 5 years we've had consistency at least at those 2. They're critical positions.
Yeah, and that's why it's so good to find. You have to find your quarterback.
Yes.
Because if you can marry your quarterback with the system consistently, we've never had that.
No.
Like, you can do 3-4 years in a system with the same quarterback, same coach. You can just. The language is easy.
Yeah.
You just, all right, this is what we do.
You don't have to reinvent it every year.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Now,
not talking about
you're bringing
rolling
in
out
somebody new,
Yes.
Kenny Pickett, 2 rookies. Now you have to learn lingo and learn where to go, how to do things. So That's why you have to keep consistency. And that's why Pittsburgh's always good. That's why Tomlin's never below 500 because they have the same verbiage. Even though they cycle in players and you seem to have the quarterback
The
issue.
whole fan base hates them as well. Hates him as well. So I mean,
True.
you got to take that one
Kinda
with a
like
grain
our
of salt
fan
for
base
sure.
It is kind of crazy how much the Steelers fan base just doesn't seem to like Tomlin.
Yeah.
It's
I
wild.
wouldn't mind having him in
crazy.
Cleveland.
Bro,
Give him a quarterback.
he's a great coach.
Yeah, it's
and I
like
hate
give
that
him a
he's a great
quarterback. He
coach.
probably would have won a couple more Super Bowls than
Yeah,
he
I
did,
think a lot of the Steelers' problems, they just don't have the right offensive coordinator. They don't get the right offensive mind in there. You know, Matt Canada, come on.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith, seriously? And they're going to roll it back with that.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're doing the retread quarterback thing.
Rodgers.
They tried the first-round pick with Kenny Pickett and, you know, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. And at some point, they just need to get a quarterback, a young guy. They're going to have to do something to find somebody and get a good offensive coach in there.
Might
I think
have
Tomlin's a great head coach.
Might have him on the roster, man. I don't know.
Will Howard?
Yeah.
Well, it could be.
don't know.
I mean, a lot of.
I heard it's been a little rough, though, so far for him. But,
Yeah, I mean,
you
he's a
know.
6th-round pick.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fair.
People are like, oh, he's going to be great. I'm like, he's a 6th-round pick, guys. Like, let's be real.
Shedeur's a
Like,
fifth-round
I
pick.
love him. I love Will Howard. I love what he did with Ohio State. But, like, I'm glad he didn't come here because fans are like,
Put
you
him
thought
in.
Shedeur's crazy right now that he's going to start week 1?
Yep.
Will Howard would probably be king of OTAs, too.
I couldn't even imagine how dysfunctional it would have been if we would have taken Howard and
Shedeur.
Because then you just have
The fan base
too
would be
much
crazy.
going. Oh,
Yeah.
there's too much going on.
It's already divided. It'd be in threes.
Yeah, they got Ohio State fans too coming in.
How did you guys react when they took Gabriel in the third? Was it? I mean, because I know, I feel like everybody's like, wait,
But when
what?
you step back away from the emotional aspect of it, you're like, well, it kind of makes sense. That's a Kevin guy, though he's like short,
He's
right?
very short, yeah.
But if you look at it, the height difference, like he's got the arm, he's got the accuracies. His
athletic,
percentage
yeah.
is high. He's athletic, so it makes sense. It's just confusing because I thought they could have got a receiver there.
Sure,
Yeah.
or safety.
That's what I
or-
thought. Yeah.
I had to let that one sink in. We're at our draft party, and I'm just like, that just happened.
Yeah, out of nowhere. I
Like
didn't
20
see that-
minutes later, I was like, oh, man, that really just happened. Like, why did we do that? But the kid shows up, and, I mean, which he does show potential. His college career was great. He's got 2 years on Shedeur's experience. So, I mean, he's got that going.
He's been interception touchdown ratio, which is important for Kevin. It's great. So that's something you have to look at.
The same thing with Shedeur, and I know you just, I think you were making the jest about Shedeur was a 5th-round pick, right? But nobody, we were talking earlier, nobody in the draft analyst space had him rated lower than a high 2nd-round pick. Yeah. Everybody had him typically 1st round, depending on who you listen to, where he was. But most people had him as a high 1st-round talent. So how do you guys feel? Do you think we actually got a 1st-round talent at quarterback in the 5th round? Is this gonna somehow work out for the Browns?
So I was against the Shedeur thing for a long time. I really was.
Before or after?
Before.
So, like, opposed to us drafting him.
He didn't want to
leading
draft
up
him
to.
at
Okay,
all.
gotcha. All right.
And we even had the draft guide this year. I think the good one.
Brian.
And it was kind of shocking to after we got him in the 5th round. I'm like, you know what? So this guy was supposed to be 1st, 2nd-round talent all day, all year. What changed that in a matter of 3 weeks? Right. So if we got this guy in the 5th round, obviously we did something possibly right and possibly could be really bad or really wrong. Depends on how fast he drives this week. We'll find out.
I feel like I've been opposite. I feel like in our show I was advocating like Shedeur can't work because of the system fits him. You know, he's accurate. He throws. The only thing I'm worried about is he's a floater. He kind of takes a lot of sacks, and the offensive line doesn't help that cause. But now it's like I think I'm cautiously optimistic because I'm going to feel like, and I think this organization is not smart enough to hear the fans, but I'm afraid the fans are like, let's rush him in.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of fans need to understand, like, this guy probably didn't do enough like reading as far as playbook in Colorado. It probably was simplistic. And Kevin, he's coming in, probably taking this all on. Let's just take his time. And I think we take his time with him. I think we will find. I think he can start over Dillon for sure. I love Shedeur.
Man,
I
a
hope we do it right.
lot of people are, they'll say, "Oh, well, how is Shedeur not ready?" He had Pat Shurmur as his OC and everything, and I'm
Yes,
like,
Pat
you're talking
Shurmur was
to the wrong fan base if you're trying to use Pat Shurmur as an argument. I mean, he couldn't get NFL players ready to play in the NFL. So,
and he did have 6 different offensive coordinators,
Yeah,
5 or 6 at the time, and so it's he's still learning, so.
And I think that's what minicamp and OTAs was all about for Shedeur specifically, was he was the only guy that didn't take first-team reps with the other three. And they were focusing on getting him up to speed. And, I think that's probably the right move if you want him to have a fair crack at things in training camp, is make sure he's on the same level as the other three if you don't feel like he is. And I'm not saying talent-wise. I'm saying understanding of the NFL operations side of things.
It's all about verbiage. It's totally different. If you come in and it's one way with Pat, it's probably simplistic, probably a letter or two. But you come in the NFL, any coach, it's like XYZ, WB, WXYZ, and you have to say in that whole, you have to be comfortable enough and confident enough. And, he's going to learn all that. He's smart. I'm not saying, when I tell people, just like, oh, you don't like him, like, no, I like him. That's why I don't want to rush him in, because I don't want to ruin him.
You've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it many times where I fall in love with a quarterback. Like, this guy's going to be good, and they're like, he's starting week 1, and I'm like, no, he's going to ruin the guy.
Yep.
So I'm hoping. And worst case is you have 2 good quarterbacks and let them battle it out for 4 years. So you got control of them, right?
Yeah.
The 2 young guys.
Well, and it just opens up so much for us next year if we can find the quarterback somehow out of these 2 guys, because you got 2 first-round picks next year. You could get a left tackle, or, if DeJuan Jones doesn't pan out, which I kind of have high hopes for DeJuan Jones. But either way, you need linemen. You need receivers. We need a safety. We need all these things that we could use those assets for, instead of one of them or potentially packaging them up just to try to get a guy.
Yeah, even if you think you got the guy next year, he might not even be the guy.
That's another thing. People they'll go to the tanking. Oh, they should just tank and get a high pick. Or, our quarterbacks in next year's draft. Well, who is it? I saw Tony Grossi said that, the franchise quarterbacks in next year's draft, but he didn't say who it was. Who the hell is it, Tony?
Well, there's 4 different ones. So, I want the one that's going to be better than the 4, so tell me the names. It's too early to tell that anyway.
It's so stupid, because you're right. If we could pick a guy in the first round next year. We've done it before, and it might not work out.
We've done that many times.
Yeah.
I'm over it. That's why I don't want to rush. That's why I don't care. Is it Flacco pick? If it's Pickett, for my ego, I'll be happy. But if it's Flacco and we're winning, I just want to win. I'm tired of I'm tired of saying tank. I've been tanking since '99.
Yeah.
I feel my soul. I'm getting on 43.
Yeah.
I'm good. God willing, I'll be here another 20, 40, 50 years. I want to see another champion or a friggin' Super Bowl run here.
We were joking as far as even with the tanking stuff. We said we almost lost Myles Garrett last offseason because of this kind of attitude towards, oh, don't worry. And I'm not saying that's a locker room thing. I'm saying the fan base saying, just go out there, shit the bed for 16, 17 games, and let's go and get a high draft pick. And Jacksonville apparently is going to suck too, because everybody keeps saying we're going to have 2 top 5 picks, and I'm like,
Josh gave you look like they're not going to suck.
Yeah.
What that look was? They're not going to suck? Jacksonville?
How can you say that with confidence?
You know what I mean? You can't. So I'm not on board with the tanking. I don't think they're going to purposely just go out there.
Yeah.
But
at least not right away.
I think if you throw,
you wait till week 10.
Then you put DTR in, and it's like, okay, wink, wink.
We got to see how he is.
Yeah.
We got to develop him.
Yep.
We waited 3 years to this point. Why not develop him now?
Last year was rough, because as soon as they made that switch, okay, we're going to sit Jameis. I'm like, okay, he's struggling right now a little bit, throwing some picks. But DTR is not better than Jameis. Come on.
Well, then the crazy thing.
We had some fans who were like, DTR could be good. I'm like, if he hasn't been good in 2 years, he's not going to be good.
Were any of you guys at the home opener last year against Dallas?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we went.
So I went as well. And do you remember after Deshaun Watson's first 3 and out, everybody was chanting DTR.
Yeah,
DTR.
that's every year. This is a normal thing.
I'm like,
that
you guys
stadium.
are idiots.
Wait until Shedeur chants start to happen.
Oh, it'll be.
They're not
it won't even be before the
He's
beginning
going to
of
already start.
Yeah, they're here.
The only way to temper them, in my opinion, at least for the first few weeks, is to play Flacco. Because enough fans love Joe Flacco that I think they'll, okay, he threw a pick. Okay, it's okay. We're still putting up points. We're still in this game or whatever. But, I mean, if it's Kenny Pickett, it's a
fan base is going to riot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier, I feel kind of bad for Dylan Gabriel, because I feel like he might get the same treatment as a Kenny Pickett would, because there's no fan loyalty to him necessarily, because he hasn't played it down yet. There's more fan loyalty to Shedeur just because of who he is.
Yeah.
People in the chat were talking about, look at Shedeur's jersey sales and all the merchandise on the website around Shedeur.
Let's compare that to Manziel. His jersey sales are insane.
Yeah.
No, I'm not comparing the 2 quarterbacks. Shedeur obviously prepares for football. Manziel didn't.
No, but the celebrity status.
Status
situation. I get that. Yeah. But so I think even if you start with Dylan and he struggles, I mean, and we said if Dylan starts the season or he's the first rookie to get a crack at it and he struggles for a game or 2, and then they bench him for Shedeur, he might be done.
That's it.
That might be his only opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. And that is going to suck for him because you think he came in with their fair shot. It seemed like they communicated, hey, if you're there, we're going to draft you. So that kind of makes me think he's going to get the first crack, right?
Yeah. When we watched that, I don't know, you guys might have seen this too. You see the call, from Stefanski, to Dylan Gabriel. I'm going, well, that was their guy all along. That was the guy that they wanted to go after.
Yeah.
You could see it plain as day, just about everything they talked about. Oh, hey, everything we discussed, now we're going to roll that out. You know what I mean? I think that
and
secretly
Dylan's mom
behind,
said, I loved you to Kevin. I mean, so there's some relationship
they're
there.
absolutely.
That's why I said, they've obviously spent time
they
together.
Know, yeah. So just, I'm with you on that. We kind of use the analogy. Gabriel doesn't have to screw up as much, but it's still kind of safe. And then Sanders has to almost be perfect.
Yeah.
And Gabriel has to be awful, for him to even get the opportunity, it feels like.
Yeah.
So.
I'm hoping that Shedeur comes in outside of what just recently happened, but comes in and just, it's not perfect, but shows growth from where he was at minicamp.
Absolutely.
To where they're like, all right, we can keep these two. Because I know I'm saying Kenny Pickett. It's only from a win perspective.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of starting a rookie. So if they say these two are growing, get rid of one of these guys, start Flacco and we'll win more, then I'm okay with that.
Right.
Keeping two young guys is smart.
If you Mary Kay put out an article last week talking about, if Shedeur shows the same growth through training camp that he showed through OTAs and minicamp, she said there's a realistic shot that he, at least takes that QB2 spot moving into the season. And I thought, okay, Mary Kay writing that, that's kind of meaningful to me anyway, that she was there for all of, rookie minicamp, OTAs, and then veteran minicamp and saw enough growth from him to say he's progressing at a rapid rate from where he started. And I think we saw it talk about all the time in the video clips and stuff you see. At rookie minicamp, there was a play or two where the pressure came and he drifted back.
Yeah.
And it was like, shit, there it is. That's what killed him so much in college. And then you get to OTAs and you see the same situation where pressure comes in and he steps up, he finds a passing lane instead of drifting back. And it's like, ooh, okay, I like to see that. And then they said his mechanics look different, just tighter spirals. And it's just good to hear that. And he says it himself all the time in his interviews. He's like, I got stuff to work on. I got to keep getting better, and he is. And
that's the encouraging thing. A lot of fans are like, he has an ego problem. He's self-entitled. He's spoiled. And you come and hear him say total opposite of what everybody thinks. Like, you guys don't know him. So it's encouraging to see him say all that and grow. Even he said during his one of his press conferences, I still got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So he knew where he was, and hopefully he grows into something. I'll be excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This season, so I usually get amped up before every season. I try not to do it last year, but I did. I was like, we got this. This is our year, like we do every year.
Yep, every year.
This year, I am going in with zero hope.
I like this.
Positive.
Yeah, that way I'll stay positive, no matter what. No matter the circumstances, it'll be so much easier to do a show knowing it's going to be a complete shit show. So you win some, you lose some, man.
Yeah, I was all in last year, too, because I'm like, Dallas, Prescott just got signed 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
I was this, and then I looked at him like, that's going to be a long season. This is not going to be good.
That home opener was such a
woof.
Whew, man, we were up there, and just the body language on the field.
Oh, yeah.
And Amari Cooper was the big one we talk about all the time because they would break the huddle, and his head would just go, like, this play, this guy can't run the play. We can't run this at all. And you just see it's like, they're not bought in. I'm like, dude, this don't look good.
No.
And we're getting just cremated out there.
I was at the Baltimore game that we won where JOK went down as well. I think Jameis could have possibly thrown 4 interceptions that game, but luckily the sun was on our side.
Yeah.
That was interesting to watch because horrible game, JOK going down. Obviously not knowing what's going to happen now. He's out for the rest of this year.
Sucks.
That's another huge thing. What do you guys think about Schlesinger? That was what I wanted to bring up.
I like the story, right? Like you hear everything about him. The more that I've seen, and especially his film and then his interviews, I think we're gonna like this kid.
He's
a lot.
smart, man.
I think we're gonna like him a lot. I was like, oh hey, cool story, and then the more I've learned about the dude, I'm like, this guy's gonna be probably a difference maker for us on this team, especially with how JOK being out. When that pick came through, I was like, oh, I felt kind of sick to my stomach because I was like, is that the JOK? Is that the signal? And then right after that, they said, he's at least out for this year. But I'm excited for him. I think he can be sideline to sidelines a difference maker for this team.
He was like one of the top 3 rated linebackers in this draft. I mean, some people had him as a first rounder, and then I think whenever he fell and was sitting there at 33, because I know the Browns were trying to get back up from 33 to get a tackle.
Yeah.
Like Josh Simmons or the kid out of Oregon, Josh Connerly. But sitting there at 33, they're like, wow, Schlesinger made it through the first, and he's here. We'll just take him. And they knew that JOK wasn't going to be out there this year.
It would be interesting if JOK wasn't hurt, they would have taken him, because I think you can play you could have played those two together.
Yeah.
Most likely. So you would have added depth to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when that pick happened, I said who? Because linebacker was not on my radar. Again, I was thinking receiver. Right, I was thinking you need a receiver.
All offense, bro.
Everybody was thinking quarterback at 33, right?
I was a big Mason Graham fan, so I was excited for Mason Graham. I was like, at the beginning, I had Mason Graham and Carter. And they're like, oh, Mason Graham. I was like, Mason Graham is going to be a dog. You guys, I'm telling you, Mason, right next to Miles or anybody, he's going to be just a baller. And when they drafted him, trade down, drafted him, I was excited. But him, he was good. And then as I got into reading and looking tape and stuff like that, I'm like, I can see why they got him. Dude's smart. He's a self-motivator.
Yep.
And he's gonna ball out.
I'm excited for Schwessing. I'm excited for all the rookies, honestly. The thing with the rookie draft class is the 2 quarterbacks, because you can only play 1 quarterback at a time.
Yeah.
And if somebody's going to be the franchise guy, it can only be one of them.
Yep.
So we'll see how it plays out.
It's going to be a fun mini camp. Training camp,
for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch.
I'm not watching any of it.
You got to talk about it every Tuesday, dog.
I'm honestly interested to see how the scrimmage games are going to go. You're playing a Super Bowl team, the Eagles, and they're playing who else? Is it Jacksonville?
No, is it Carolina?
Carolina Panthers. Sorry. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there, especially preseason. You know you're going to see a lot of the other quarterbacks. That's what I'm looking forward to. Everybody, Chad on our show, hates preseason, doesn't even watch it.
He's going to like it this year.
Oh, he's going to, he has no choice. He's going to have to watch.
Right, all the Browns fans are going to watch it like it's a Super Bowl, because they're going to dissect every throw.
I was really big on preseason, didn't matter at all, right? Until I watched us not practice in the preseason. And I was like, hey, turns out this is maybe important to show up to a little bit here and get in some reps.
And credit for them, the organization, to see that, because they're switching everything over this year. The players are like, my God, this is not tougher than going to the Greenbrier on vacation and practicing and
Camp Cupcake.
Yeah, Camp Cupcake, exactly.
Yeah. It was definitely soft last year. We went up to training camp, and I remember we're sitting there like, this kind of feels not high intensity or anything. Very soft out here.
Jog through.
Yeah. Good job.
All the problems we saw all season, we can go right back to training camp and preseason, because we saw it all. It was all there.
Starts from day one.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they are, strong. Just continue this through the season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully we don't have to talk about Deshaun Watson at all this year.
He's going to be on the roster, so
we'll do that next year.
We'll see.
Yes, maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
That's our slogan, right?
Well, thanks for sitting down with us, guys.
No,
Just
thank you
let
for having
everybody
us.
know again where to find you guys, when to listen, all that kind of stuff.
7:30 live on all platforms. We're live. We do our show at 7:30, and we're on X, Twitter. Mike, you signed us up for everything.
Every Tuesday. Every Tuesday.
So we're on X, Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, obviously. So follow us on there. Bearded Browns podcast. We've been pumping out some content lately, so hopefully you guys like it and give us a follow.
Oh yeah, follow them guys.
You guys are doing a great job.
Guys.
Great follow. So follow these guys and tune into their show on Tuesdays at 7:30.
Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Till next time.
I'm all alone, guys. Justin left. It's just me. No, I'm just kidding. He's just out. He stepped out back real quick. And I just wanted to jump on here and let you guys know that Ralph Holley, I believe, is joining us here soon, momentarily, wrapping up a couple things and then coming down here. If you're new to the stream, if you're just jumping on, we are live from Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia. Here comes Justin. New Philadelphia, Ohio. We're doing Bowling with Browns Legends, presented by the Tuscarawas County Browns backers. And again, you can come sit down, dude. The live stream today is presented by Omaha Steaks, so make sure you guys head over to omahasteaks.com. Get your orders in for 4th of July. 50% off site-wide right now with $45 off your order with promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, when you check out. So head over to omahasteaks.com. Okay. I don't know. Was Marcus wanting to get on?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I was just talking.
Gotcha. So we're waiting on Ralph. We got a couple guys from the Browns backers that are going to sit down. We are going to try to wrap this stream up. I'd say 3.
Sure.
Probably cut her off at 3. We'll see what we can get done between now and then. That's all right. Do you?
No. Yeah.
Okay. It looks like he's going to go get Ralph. That's cool. All right. I didn't know what we were doing.
I was ready to interview.
That's cool.
Interview anybody.
All right, so you guys, if you have questions in the chat right now for Ralph Holley, current player on the Browns, if you're not familiar with the roster, he is a defensive tackle. We signed out of the CFL. I think he played, gosh, you got his bio. I think he played Western.
Albany?
No, I'm thinking college. Western, I forget. But he played for the Argonauts in the CFL.
Correct.
So he's a Grey Cup champion. Hang on a second. Yeah. Do you want to sit down?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, I thought you were getting Ralph. We're waiting on Ralph real quick. Yeah. As soon as he's done. Okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry, everybody. Confusion here on the live. No big deal. It's all good. But yeah, Ralph Holley should be heading. Oh, here he comes. Cool. So here, let me throw up the screen real fast. We'll be right back, guys. Okay, everybody, welcome back in here. As promised, we got Ralph Holley, current Browns player, sitting down at the table with us. Nice to have you here, man. Thanks for coming down to this event.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're pumped to have you on the team. I know, obviously a lot of average fans out there aren't as familiar with the depth chart this time of the summer, as they will be once training camp gets started and everything, but we follow very closely, obviously, doing the podcast. And I was honestly very excited when the Browns brought you in and everything, because I feel like you add, you're, I guess, a rookie, right, in the NFL.
Yeah, technically,
but you're not a rookie. Like, you bring veteran experience in professional football to that defensive tackle unit, which I think is very big for the Browns.
Yeah, and it's a blessing being surrounded by so many other vets as well. Even though I'm considered a rookie, yes, in the NFL, this is my 3rd year being pro, so. I have a lot of experience under my belt as well, and it's awesome being surrounded by, some vets, Miles, Malik, all of them. So it's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's that defensive line, man. we're really hoping it's the strong point of that defense once again, because, man, with Jim Schwartz and the guys you have on there, it could be very nasty.
Yeah.
Very nasty.
I agree, 100%.
But, so talk about, like, your journey through the CFL, and you're a Grey Cup champion, right? So, like, you've won a professional football championship. Like, that's awesome stuff, man. That's really cool. So what was that all like?
So, you know, the CFL, it was great, man. You know, I love Toronto. I love the fans there. You know, my story in Toronto is just it's an up and down one. I started off on practice roster actually for the first 3 games of the season. You know, and then injuries happened, and I got the opportunity to play. And like my first game in, you know, I was just like, I can't go back down to practice squad. You know, I was happy being on the team. I was grateful being on the team, but you know, I wanted to play like anybody else. My first game in, I did really well. I had a sack, TFL. And then just following the season, you know, it started just ranking up. And, you know, we played, I think it was the BC Lions. It was like our 7th or 8th game. And that was like my first game where I had like 3 sacks. And, you know, it was just like, you know, this is crazy. You know, this is crazy. I'm doing this because probably a year ago, I was substitute teaching, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to be playing football. So, and I got a call from my agent, hey, Toronto wants to sign you. I was like, let's do it. So, you know, it's a blessing that everything comes, you know, full circle from hard work and everything. But, yeah, after that game, you know, we ended up, like, winning out our division and everything like that. And then, you know, the Grey Cup came, and, you know, it was just crazy. I ended up having a sack in the Grey Cup. It's funny because in the CFL, they don't count half sacks or half tackles. You know, it's like even one guy gets it. You know, one guy gets it. You know, people will be fighting, and some people will be angry. You know, that's my sack, that's my tackle. You know, so but it's awesome the way everything ended. So yeah,
that's great, man. So defensive tackle position, I think this is a great opportunity to talk to you about this because we've talked about it on the show before, but you know, going from college football at the defensive tackle position to the NFL or to the pros, there's more of a learning curve, right? So can you talk about that, facing like full-on NFL caliber or pro-level caliber or you know, offensive linemen versus in college you might face a few of them, but most of those guys aren't going to go pro.
That's true. Yeah, and it's a thing of like I feel like the biggest thing for me was like, you know, you have your distinct quality of what makes you a good defensive lineman. And the thing is like holding on to that and expanding on that. Because it's a natural born gift like, you know, you've had since high school. You know, you've been, like for me, it's my get off and my speed at my size. And, you know, it was me not just like sitting in that, but like trying to build on it. And like that's the thing that I learned like going to the pros is that, you know, they focus on every little thing, you know, with your game. You know, there's different steps I can take that'll make me better, different ways I can pass rush that'll make me, you know, win more. You know, I was blessed to have a great coach in Toronto that, you know, expanded and let me play how I play, but also didn't let me get comfortable in the way I play. He educated me on different ways, and that's the same way that my D-line coach now is doing. He's expanding on what I did last year and just trying to promote that. So I say the biggest thing is the little details that I learned from college to pro.
It's very cool, man.
Yeah.
We've talked about how, you know, competitive that room is.
Yeah.
You know, the veterans, is there anybody that you've really gravitated to, like that, you know, you've leaned on or just for advice?
Yeah, honestly, I would say the biggest vet is probably Sam Kamara.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam Kamara. I've trained with him before in the off season. And he's somebody that is just like, you know, he wasn't drafted. You know, he's moved multiple teams in a while and you know, a short period of time. But his tenacity and him just being a dog on the field, man, it's just like, in the way he plays, you know, I admire it. And he's taught me a lot about my game with me being here. You know, I'm still trying to get used to the scheme and everything, which I love. I love the way Short schemes us up because he lets us play to each of our strengths. And but Sam Kamara is really somebody that has been helping me, and you know, somebody that's just been like, you know, showing me the ropes here in Cleveland. So
Well, that's cool to hear you. We'll talk about Jim Schwartz, I think, here in a little bit, a little more. But, Kamara's a guy that I feel like every year he's on this roster. He's just, you see his name around, and it's like that, and that's good to hear that that's the kind of stuff that keeps him in the fold with the Browns. And, UDFAs have been kind of a hit here in Cleveland. I mean, we got Diabate, you've got Winston Reed, Ronnie Hickman, these guys that Andrew Berry has signed that come in here, and it's like, oh my gosh, we got some players here. This is pretty sweet. So it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, it is. It's an awesome opportunity, and I think we have this motto, in our defense room. Hungry dogs run faster. So that's
I like that
motto. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Nah, I was just gonna say, man, like your journey, it's been crazy. Like you're
man.
so humble, man. Like just sitting here listening to it. I guess, what has your experience been like? Because this is your first time on an NFL camp. Like, is it kind of surreal? Are you pinching yourself and going, like all my? And I'm not saying all your dreams have come true, but like, this is something that you got to check off, man, and go, hey, I did this. My hard work is paying through. Like. Does it seem surreal, or are you just?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, this is a dream come true for me, and that's what my defensive line coach Jock, he was telling me when I got here. He was like, "You're here now." He was like, "But realize you're supposed to be here. Like we just didn't sign you just to sign you. Realize you're supposed to be here." He's like, "Enjoy it, but realize you're here to work." And I was like, "Yeah. You're right. Like I've reached this goal, but I'm not satisfied with where I'm at in my life. In this goal. I've had to battle through every league. I've been in the USFL. I've been in the CFL. Now I'm in the NFL, and I've been in the USFL. We didn't win it, but we made it to the championship there. CFL, I won the championship. And I'm just trying to bring that mojo and everything that I've learned from the years up here and just, expand on it. So, my story is a story of trials and tribulations, ups and downs, being denied, being told no, but still persevering. And I feel like that's, honestly one of the reasons why I picked the Browns, man, to come here. It's just because of the tenacity and, the blue-collar football we play here. I'm not really one for, I wouldn't say pretty football, but I'm a football player at the end of the day. And I feel like the Browns embody what football is, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, well, and since Jim Schwartz has been here, I mean, the defense has definitely been the strength of the team, and they've been so much fun to watch. It was a huge difference that 23, whenever his first year here, it was like, wow, this is intense. I mean, the get after the quarterback is nuts. I mean. Remember, we had Joe Burrow out there just throwing quick shovel passes out to the sideline because he just couldn't hold on to the ball very long, and it was so fun. So, what's Jock like as a coach? He seems like a pretty cool dude.
Oh, that dude, he's a great guy. He's intense though. He challenges me, not even on a physical aspect, on a mental aspect, to be better. And I respect that so much because he's pushing me in ways that other coaches haven't pushed me before.
That's good.
Which is making me, it's bringing something else out of me that I've never tapped into personally in my game. And I'm understanding the game more. I'm understanding offensive schemes more. The game is just slowing down for me so much because he trusts us and he takes the time for us to learn as well. What Jock does is that he applies pressure to where he knows that we're weak at, and then he pushes us to get better at that, so that you've heard the analogy, you're only as strong as your weakest link. He doesn't want there to be a weak link, so he hits those points, and he coaches us. I feel like coaching is another form of teaching, and he is that to a T. He is coaching us and teaching us, way more than just defense. He's teaching us the whole game. So I really appreciate Jock, for doing that.
That's great, man. Yeah. I mean, and we've kind of been getting some of the former players, the alumni, their opinions on the team and the coaches and stuff from their perspective, but it's just we don't really get to sit down with former players that often, or current players that often. So what's your overall impression of Kevin Stefanski? Because he's like the longest tenured coach we've had
since
in decades, and I mean He's won 2 Coach of the Year awards. He's brought us some winning seasons, a playoff game that we won. I mean, it's been a fun ride with Kevin so far.
Man, Coach Stefanski is awesome, man. I remember the first day I met him when I first got to Cleveland for like my first workout. And, I went up and I introduced myself, and he was like, I know who you are, Ralph. I'm like, Coach, all right. I was like, all right. And every morning, I walk in. His office is right by our door when we walk in. Every morning he gives me hey, Ralph, what's going on? Ralph, morning, Ralph. I'm just like, what's going on, Coach? But the attention to detail that he brings towards the meetings, he knows what we need to improve on. He doesn't shy from it at all. And, that has rubbed off on our team so much. Like, these OTAs were, like, actually, like, just, like, amazing. Like, we're paying attention to the small things because, some of the small things can lead a lot of the small things lead to the big things. But he's been harping on a lot of the details that we need to pay attention to. And, it's just been, I just appreciate him for that because he wants to get better as
We've heard just from reports and stuff that like there's a different kind of energy and tenacity and like intensity about the OTAs so
the off-season program,
the off-season program in general. So I mean that's super encouraging, and it is cool to hear that. We're like, okay, hey, let's get back to it because we're not that far removed from being in the playoffs.
Well, and okay, so being on the defensive side of the ball during these OTAs and everything, what are you seeing from the offense as far as the scheme? Are they, because there's all the talk about getting back to the run, run first mentality, the come at you and attack. Like, what are you seeing from the offensive linemen, the scheme, the new running backs that we have, all that kind of stuff?
Man, I was just say everything is just. It's just ferocious of a thing. I'm not gonna lie.
That's good.
When we're in OTAs, they're coming at us. And I love it. Our offense. I didn't have the chance to experience them last year, but personally. But from what I'm seeing, the offense is clicking. They're moving fast. They're moving physical. They're communicating. Their communication is off the par. They're making plays, as long as with us making plays as well,
right.
And when we're competing, and there's that competition aspect that you have that you will apply to the game that we're emulating every day in practice. So,
gotta practice hard if you're gonna play hard. I mean,
exactly.
Absolutely.
So it's good to hear that all that stuff. I mean, last year was obviously a down year for the team, but I mean. I can speak for most of the fan base. I think that we're back. Like, we're hyped. We're ready for this season.
Absolutely.
We're very, very excited to see you guys get out there and go. So,
man,
anything else you want to talk about here?
I wish you the best, man. I think you know what I mean. I love your story. When we talk to players, former players and stuff, that's kind of like one of my favorite things. Like hearing the adversity and just you could have folded. You could have said, hey, maybe I just am going to be a substitute teacher. It's very cool hearing that you never gave up, kept scrapping.
Well, yeah, you got the opportunity, took advantage of it.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're going hard at it, which is that's awesome.
You got a lot of people probably rooting for you, man.
I appreciate that,
Oh,
brother.
for sure. I know we'll be following you through training camp and everything, preseason. Just very excited to see you out there and hope all the best for you. What's the best thing about Cleveland so far that you found? Is it like food or a place to go or like?
Man, honestly, I would say the food, man.
Okay.
Jeez, man. Cleveland has some good food spots, and it's a thing of I try not to. I have my cheat days on the weekends.
Right.
So, but the best place I've had so far, and I'm a big pizza and wings guy, is Angelo's.
Oh yeah.
Angelo's Pizza, great pizza. Because I live in Lakewood, so
cool.
Yep.
It's a great place, man.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, thanks for sitting down and talking with us. Cleveland, you guys, we're lucky to have this guy on the team for real. I mean, like Justin said, love your story. I love the mentality you bring to the team and everything. So this is great.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys, thanks for staying on the live stream with us today. We are going to wrap things up because equipment is starting to die. And we've been streaming for 3 hours. We were shooting for 2. So it's been a good event here today at Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio, doing the Bowling with Browns Legends event presented by the Tuscarawas County Browns backers. If you guys are, this thing's going on until 5. So if you're local, if you still want to come down here, meet all these guys, bowl, hang out with the Browns Legends that were here today, come on down. They're going to be here until 5 o'clock. They're going to do this again next year. This is the first annual, so if you missed it out on this, this year and you're interested, you wanted to be here, plan ahead. Next year, probably, I don't know when, but it'll probably be around the same time here in June. They're going to do it again, another event, and we're going to ramp it up even more. It's been a ton of fun. So live stream today, again, presented by Omaha Steaks. We want to thank them for sponsoring the stream, omahasteaks.com. Get 50% off site-wide right now for 4th of July and get $45 off your order with our promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, when you check out. You guys, appreciate everybody tuning in. The live stream has been so much fun. The live chat has been popping the entire time. We appreciate all you guys. Stay tuned. Later, next week, we're going to do a live show on, I believe, Tuesday night. It's going to be a listener mailbag segment again, kind of like last week. So if you got questions or comments or takes that you want on the show, you want us to react to it or answer your questions, head to thedawgspodcast.com. Leave us a voicemail in the menu, or you can just send us a message. If you don't want your voice on the show, that's totally fine. You can hit us up. I'll make a post. You can hit us up on X or Facebook or Instagram. Drop your questions in the comments there, and we'll react to everything live on Tuesday night, and then we'll just go from there as this summer break continues on before the Browns report to training camp in late July. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you guys